All right, welcome in, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right on a Tuesday and game day, of course. I missed the Padres last night. I did. Part of my evenings. My 2-year-old asked me, "Did a Padres play?" I said, "No, buddy, not tonight. They are in Canada." And so, yeah, back at it today. Excited about that. I'm Woodsy. And to my right is Paul Reindl. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Paulie's staring longingly into the camera this morning. I like that to start the show.
Boom.
Just like you're seducing someone with your eyes.
Maybe.
Is that is your wife watching right now?
She might be.
And you're like, "Hey, girl, I'll see you soon. I'll see you soon enough." To my left, Benjamin R. Higgins, friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning and good start, gentlemen. We're all wearing different colored
We are.
I almost texted you
T-shirts.
guys.
Very well done.
I have a pink shirt. It's not a sweatshirt, Paulie, but I almost wore my pink shirt, which would have been pretty
I have
funny.
that same shirt.
Yeah, you have the same shirt.
We went over the same brand.
Yep. Today is World Listening Day, and I wanted to thank all of our listeners out there. And there are it seems to grow every day. I'm surprised at how many people actually listen to this radio program. I really am, and I try not to think too much about it because it kind of freaks me out. And I always want it to sound like it's just three buddies talking, right? And when you start thinking about, wow, there's actually people listening. So, for example, I go yesterday to the doctor. Had to leave a little bit early. Had to get all the way up to Carlsbad for my appointment at the orthopedist's office. Been having a lot of pain in my hands, and went in, and they checked me in, and I waited for just a minute. They were very fast. It was really fantastic, dude. I got in there, and they said, "We'd like to do the x-ray." I said, "Oh, no problem." So I walked in, sit down, put my hands on the table, and this head pops out from behind the deal. "Hey, man, I don't want to geek out or anything. I'm a huge fan. I listen every single morning." I'm like, "Wow, how you doing, man?" And he's like, "I'm also a Dodger fan." I'm like, "Oh, no." And he goes, "I know you're tough on the Dodgers. I get it." He goes, "I would be too." He goes, "But you guys are awesome. I can't stop listening to you. I love you guys." I'm like, "I love you too, man. It's okay that you like the
So
Dodgers."
you trust he didn't give you an extra dose of radiation?
No, yeah. My hands just start to crumble. So I didn't know I was going to get much info back. I thought this was, get the x-rays, let them take a look.
What'd they find?
How bad is it? Surgery?
Well, listen, fellas.
You know, any broken
Physical
bones?
therapy? What are we looking at here?
Are you dying?
Dupuytren's contracture? It's official.
Stage 4 carpal tunnel?
Apparently there's not a damn thing wrong with my hands. Not one
Psychosomatic.
thing wrong with my hands at all. And I go, they bring me out. They bring me out of the x-ray room, sit down in the office. I'm waiting. Doctor comes in, sharp dude, man, throws up the two, boom, boom, under the backlit deal. And it's the film. And I'm looking at my bony hands, and I see some space, and I see some, whatever. It's cool. Like x-rays
those look bad.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
in trouble.
This looks terrible. X-rays. He's looking. He goes, "So, when did the pain start?" And I said, "Well, in my right hand, and you guys know this, the knuckles. The last year, a couple of years ago, when I started playing a lot of golf, these two knuckles on my right hand really started to hurt. So I thought, maybe a little early arthritis. But tape them up, a little pressure on them, and I'm fine. I could play, no problem, no big deal. Then it was the left hand that started killing me. It was on the outer left part of my hand, and painful to the touch. So just like always, right? If your knee's hurting and you're like, "I got to go see the doctor," what happens on the day you go to the doctor? Your knee's fine. It's absolutely fine. It feels like he did when he was 17 years old. So I'm going in there. He's grabbing my hands. He's pressing. He's like, anything at all. I'm like, nothing. It feels fantastic today. I have been bracing it every night when I sleep. So I've been doing a couple of steps.
That must have fixed it.
So he's looking at it, and he goes, "Yeah, I don't." He goes, "Like, where did it hurt?" And I showed him. He goes, "Yeah, I don't see any inflammation, or there's no fractures." He goes, "Actually, all your joints and stuff look
Really healthy.
Look really good and healthy." I'm like, and so the thing is obviously that's fantastic news. So my wife was very concerned, and I don't know if I told this on the air, but when her dad got sick, his hands were hurting him. And that really domed her out. And that domed her mom out. Her mom's texting me, seeing if I want to go to do hot yoga with her. And I'm like, you seen me? Do I look like I do hot yoga? And that's why they're concerned. And so I asked them, I go, so you're telling me again.
It's good to know that they're concerned, though.
It is. Yeah,
they don't want something bad to happen
to
you.
Die.
When they're not concerned, that's when you should be concerned.
That's exactly right. When so he's like, I don't see anything. And he's like, look, carpal tunnel. There's no tingling. I'm like, no, there's no tingling. I haven't been, picking up something and dropping it. Like I can pick up this big, heavy water bottle. I don't drop it. It does hurt though. Like so after hearing that, it's certainly a load off, right? He said, I wouldn't be worried about a tumor or anything like that. You're fine. And he's like, look, getting a little older, and I said, but you don't understand. Like if I shallow out a golf club, the pain radiates up my wrist, and I feel like I'm going to die. Apparently, I'm just a big nutsack. So I'm just like, all right, well. So I felt good. I left there, and I felt like, okay, well, ultimately, that's good news that there's nothing wrong with me.
Maybe you're having sympathy pains with the Padres, because every time I see them play, Juan Soto, Manny Machado,
their hands.
They take a weird swing, and all of a sudden, their hands are hurting.
Yep.
It's something that's just going around right now.
Yeah.
Hurting hands, painful hands, but then they're okay. They can go hit a home run a minute later and walk slowly around the bases and get Phillies broadcasters really mad at them.
Get their panties in a
twist.
With
Juan Soto over the last series. So I'm glad you're okay.
Well, I'm
sorry
too.
you'd have no. I mean, in some ways, it would be nice to have like a definitive answer. Oh, yeah, you've got this.
Right.
And here's the treatment plan, and in about 2 months, you'll be all right as rain and good as new.
Well, the thing I was fearing was like, hey, you got to go do wrist surgery or something. So I'm going to just continue to brace it. I'm going to continue to wrap it when I play golf. The things that like, I'll just wrap it. And I guess I'll just, deal with the pain when it comes. But so I went and hit balls yesterday after that, because I'm like, oh, okay. If it's not going to get worse, I'll just deal with it. I'll be fine. So I go to hit balls, and boy, I shallowed out a few and was like, yeah, like, what are you talking about? Like, this is horrible. Then again, that could happen to you or Paul if you shallow out a club on a concrete mat. It probably doesn't feel
like
great.
hitting one off the end of the bat.
Yeah.
It's never going to feel
doesn't
good
feel
in
great.
your hands,
So,
no matter what. So
yeah, Scott wants to know if I sleep on my hands. Yeah, I do. I sleep all funky and like my wrists are like this. So that's why the brace helps on this one. But yeah, no, I mean, it's sensitive in and around the wrists right now. But it was, look, at the end of the day, I kind of felt, I was like, oh boy, really? Nothing? Not a damn thing. He's like, probably a little tendonitis, a little carpal tunnel, but nothing to get upset about. I said, okay, all right. So now I'm good.
All right. Well, I'm happy for you. I guess.
Well, thank you for letting me leave
work.
early to go do that.
You missed a fun segment with Sammy Levitt.
Did I?
Yeah, he was good as always.
I did not listen. I could have listened. I didn't.
No, that's all right.
I listened.
Take your 30 minutes off.
Yeah, I did.
Enjoy yourself.
I did. So,
all right, well,
no. I mean, I'm not going to miss any time. I'll be here. I will be here. But no, I did. I missed the game last night. I'm used to it. I'm used to going home. My kids are used to it. It's a family thing every night. And yes, they've been playing like death. And yes,
I was okay with the break.
I didn't want to break. I wanted to get right back at it. And it didn't happen. So big series. We'll talk about that. Pretty good pitching matchups, I think, too. I think we're going to have, it's going to be, look, take your fandom out of it. It's going to be some fun baseball. There's some fun players. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of fun players in the next
this
2 nights.
This is a
3
series that is loaded with
good young
recognizable names on both sides.
Yep. I mean, and then I think I'll be honest with you. If you don't watch much of the Blue Jays, if you're a Padre fan and don't get to watch much of the Blue Jays, there's about 4 guys you're going to grow to loathe over the next 3 nights. One of them starting tonight. You will absolutely, if you know almost nothing about the Blue Jays, by the end of tonight's game, you will absolutely loathe Alek Manoah. You will make a disparaging comment.
I'll be okay with him if he gives up, like 10 runs like he was doing earlier in the season. I'll go, kind of like that guy.
Well, he'll still be chirping down 10 runs. So you'll grow to loathe him. Bo Bichette, who I like.
Seems a little tough to take to me.
I like Bo Bichette. You know why? Because my son Bo loves Bo Bichette. Long hair, same name. He's all in. So he is excited to see Bo Bichette. Vladdy Jr. can rub people the wrong way from
Really?
time to
No,
time.
I
And I
kinda
like him.
I like
him too.
Vladdy Jr.
I like him too.
Feel like he's taken what his dad did. He's dialed it in even more. I respect that. He's not coasting on, name of his father. He's come in and he's a more disciplined hitter than his dad was.
Yep.
And dad is obviously a Hall of Fame talent. And this kid, if he continues in the same direction, might get there as well someday. That's really, really hard to do.
I'm just saying these might be some players at the end of the series that you look at and go, oh, I do not.
Is Kevon Biggio in the team, or is he in the minors? I think they sent him down for a while.
Is it Kevin or
Kevon? I'm not even sure.
Why are you trying to French everything up? I think it's just Kevin.
Don't name your kid Kevin if you don't want people to mispronounce the name.
Excited for you guys to see Vladimir Guerrero and Kevon Biggio. I think it's just Kevin. Yeah, he's in. He's up. Yeah, he played against the Diamondbacks 3 days ago.
I mean, all these sons of former Major League Baseball players.
Batting about 200.
Yeah, I know he's not having a great season. He's definitely spent some time in the minor league.
Biggio, Whit Merrifield, you will see tonight as well.
All-Star, Whit Merrifield.
All-Star, yeah. Is Kiermaier still in this team? Yeah, there's a few. Oh, Brandon Belt, old friend alert. Not old friend for us, but old rival
enemy.
alert. Yeah, old enemy
alert.
He plays for the Blue Jays. George Springer is a guy that I've never really enjoyed. Yeah, so you'll see some guys that you go, I don't want to watch these guys much, but they're good, man. They're a good team. They're coming in red hot right now, but should be a good one. And people in the chat are already like, come on, this is not a big series. It is. It's a huge series. It's a massive series. They're all massive right now. Every game is huge. It's huge. It's huge. It's huge. I'm not going to get into Doom time yet. I'm just not. There's a time for Doom. And I think for me, I'll know it when it happens. I was close.
It could be this week.
It could be this week.
I think
you lose to the Tigers.
While from a fan perspective,
Monday could be
I can certainly understand why fans would say it's not a big series, because even if they sweep it, you need to do more to get back in it. So, wake me up when you really have shown you can win 5 or 6 games in a row. And, you're not just this team that is going to keep going back and forth and getting our hopes up and breaking our heart. But I do believe from the players' perspective, every game from now until the trade deadline is absolutely gigantic, because those guys don't want to put AJ Preller in a position where he has to deal away guys. They want to stay together. They want to have a chance to do what they started this season trying to do, get to the playoffs, win the World Series. And they know if they don't immediately turn it around, that hope will be gone, and that some of those guys who are in that clubhouse are going to be out of there. And I would think that they would, just from their own personal perspectives, be approaching these games like, man, this is it. This is our last chance to stay together as a group and do what we set out to do. They've been working since spring training and before on this. You think they don't care about that? You think that they just like, oh, whatever, it's just a job? That's not how they approach this sort of thing.
Well, now, we have seen this team and with different pieces fall apart. And that a couple of years ago, we talked about it on the show yesterday. These are different guys. Some of them are still the same, though. But what they don't want to see happen, Ben, is a jettisoning of players in the next 2 weeks. That's not something they want to see. Then they know, if we start shipping players off, then they know it's over. It's over. We're done. And baseball's a funny, fickle sport. We were talking about it before the show. Weird stuff happens. You see teams trade away good players and then win 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row. We have not seen this team win 4 in a row. We have not seen it all season long. It's still, out of all the shocking stats that you can throw at me about the San Diego Padres in 2023, that is, you can give me the extra innings record. That's wild. You can give me the batting average, the extra. That's wild.
Runners in scoring.
Is wild. 3-game winning streak is the best this team can do. Nothing's going to top that.
You can win 4 in a row without even sweeping one series.
100%.
You can lose the first game, win 2, win the first 2 of the next series, and lose the last one.
Yeah, it's not like we're asking you to sweep a 4-game set against the Phillies. Win 2 and then 2.
You can win 2 series in a row, 2 out of 3, and still win 4 games in a row. In
pitching, you are damn near getting a quality start
every time out.
Every single night, 1 through 5.
It's the most shocking stat. All
It's not
of
like you got 3 studs and then a couple
of
of,
turds.
hey, anything can happen with our 4 and our
But
5s out there.
that is the one to me that will continue to blow my mind until it happens.
Let's save some of this talk. We got 4 hours and we had no game last night, so we have plenty to discuss and plenty of time to do it. It is a Jesse Agler Tuesday. It's been a couple of weeks since the before the All-Star break that we've talked to the voice of the Padres. We'll play the Incorporator with Jesse Agler. He's going to join us at 8 this morning from Toronto, Canada. Looking forward to chatting with Jesse Agler. We'll have all of our regular features, including Don't Do This, Take on Woods, Daily Diddy coming up next. I do want to update. I know a couple people wondering, wasn't there supposed to be some big San Diego State news yesterday? There was like a big meeting and they were going to decide about the future. If you didn't hear, well, there's a reason why. We can get to that as well. All coming up, getting started here on a Tuesday. Glad to have everybody with us. Stick around. We're going to take some phone calls as well. Didn't take many yesterday, so your opportunity to get in and talk Padres baseball with us, 833-288-0973. We'll be back after a check of traffic right here on 97.3 The Fan.
It's the price you pay when you lose on Take on Woods. You lose a ditty.
Well done, Roger.
Well done, Roger.
We said it yesterday. Roger, who beat Woods 5-4 yesterday, is like the Ken Jennings of Take on Woods. He is.
Wouldn't I be the Ken Jennings of Take on Woods?
Well,
actually?
I mean, before Ken Jennings started hosting it. Technically,
You're
now
the
I'm the
host.
Ken Jennings because I'm the host.
That's
but
right.
when Ken Jennings was the best ever Jeopardy contestant.
Who's the best ever Take on Woods contestant? Me.
No, you're somewhere in between. You're kind of half host, half contestant.
I'm not host though. I'm a straight up contestant.
I know you're there every day.
I'm Ken Jennings.
You're more Vanna White.
Who's this band?
Sum 41.
Sum 41?
Yeah.
SUM
Sum
41.
41. Like 21 plus 20. Sum 41.
Or you could do 39 plus 2.
Two.
Right.
Sum is again
minus 2.
41.
Sum
No,
41.
that's the difference if you subtract.
That's true.
You have
Sum
to
is
add to make the sum 41.
Sum 41. Missed this.
69 minus 26.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Again, that's
41.
the difference is 41.
Minus 69 plus something.
Now let's talk about remainders. It's Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. I know you don't care. I'm going to point to you. You care, Paulie, a little bit because you went to San Diego State. So yesterday there was supposed to be big news. They presidents of the Mountain West Conference, minus President De La Torre from San Diego State, were meeting in a conference, like video Zoom board meeting, to decide whether or not San Diego State is actually in the Mountain West or not anymore.
Because they're still there. They did the fake letter. It was a letter, but it wasn't really a withdrawal letter.
Yeah, they sent a
I
withdrawal.
was just saying hi.
They sent like a feeler letter that said they were going to withdraw, but we first want to talk about
That
it.
backfired.
And then the Mountain West said, okay, fine, you're gone.
You're out.
We are withholding all your money, and you are out as of July 1st, 2024.
What were they planning to do with the 11 scheduled football games that are already on the books for this season?
Well, they're still in
They
this
play
season
those.
either way.
Here they're in.
Whatever happens, they had one more year left in the Mountain West.
Okay.
The question is whether they get kicked out on July 1st, 2024, or they're still in going forward after that until 2025, because they're waiting on an invitation from the Pac-12 that has been very slow in coming because they are in these tedious media rights negotiations and they haven't decided on expansion. And San Diego State's like, our clock's ticking. Now you're making us wait. So they were trying to play it both ways. They were hoping they could kind of get out of the Mountain West, and an invitation would be coming soon.
Oh.
But now they're in this no man's land. So yesterday there was a meeting, but no word came out of that meeting. The president said there would be no comment on what, if anything, they decided on San Diego State. So we still don't know
Cool.
if the Aztecs are locked in for 2 more years of the Mountain West, or they'll be homeless
This coming season
They're
and
good.
another one.
No, that would be locked in.
That would be locked in.
If they said, okay, you're back in, no reservations, then they'd probably be locked in through 2025 as well.
But then if the invite comes at some point between now and 2025, they can say, here is our formal letter. Here's your money. We're out of here.
Right.
After this season.
Yes, but if they want to leave early, it'll cost way more. So they probably would have to wait 2 years. But we don't know. I mean, there could be a scenario where the Aztecs are homeless as of July 1st, 2024.
I believe the term is unhomed.
Out of the
proper
Mountain
term,
West
unhomed.
and not in the Pac-12 either. And
Independent.
just floating around.
Play
as an
Notre
independent.
Dame, Navy. Yeah, be fun.
I don't think that's what they're going for. Well, especially in other conferences. Yeah, you could probably cobble together a football schedule, but like a basketball schedule,
Correct.
a women's volleyball schedule,
Yeah.
a soccer schedule, those would be extremely difficult without the home and aways of a regular conference opponent. So I don't know what the situation is still at San Diego State and how they're going to kind of make it all smooth out. Probably still going to be some lawyers involved. At some point, there's a talk that maybe the Mountain West is trying to put together a little penalty like, yeah, okay, we'll let you back in, but here's $1 million for your trouble or something like that. And then San Diego State's going to go, whoa. We told you we weren't really out. They'll probably have lawyers get involved.
They jumped the gun here.
Well, a little bit, yes.
Yeah, if you don't send that letter at all, the fake we're withdrawing.
You're still
letter,
in the Mountain West.
You're still in the Mountain West,
right?
And you wait. You don't.
But
it's
then
like
you have
quitting
to wait.
a job. It's like quitting a job before you have another job. which I've done.
The
And it's
Aztecs
a terrible
wanted to
feeling.
have their cake and eat it too.
Who doesn't want
Of
cake
course.
to eat? Right. We've talked about that.
I know, but
Ad
that's what
nauseam.
they were looking for. They were hoping they could stay in the Mountain West, not pay an extra exit fee, but still get to the Pac-12 as quickly as possible if that invitation came.
I mean, you're banking on something that is a maybe. It's a maybe. And you can't bank on maybes. You just can't. And
Most people say it's a likely that the Pac-12 kind of needs San Diego State at this point if they're going to survive and expand. What is not as sure is whether the Pac-12 survives after this. If they don't get a good media rights deal, they're going to have other schools jumping ship the way USC and UCLA did, and then there's no Pac-12 to go to. Well, you want to join Washington State and Oregon State and some mega West Coast conference? That's not what San Diego State's looking for as well. So there are still a lot of unknowns in this situation for San Diego State. And while we were expecting to get some clarity yesterday, we got none at all. No clarity. So still sitting here having no idea
nothing,
what the status is.
Nothing really changes now.
No,
so you're still going to play your schedule.
So tomorrow is Mountain West Media Day in Las Vegas. The president or the commissioner of the Mountain West is supposed to speak and answer questions. It's going to be hard to not say anything at all about San Diego State. Brady Hoke, I think, talks on Thursday, does his first football Q&A session. He hasn't spoken in a long time. It's going to be awkward if they all try to go, yeah, no comment, nothing, no comment for 20 minutes of media sessions. So I've got to imagine there's going to be some information that comes out this week from those media days in Las Vegas.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm looking at the schedule for this year. Ugh, man.
Starts with the University of Ohio, the Bobcats. Next month, late next
University
month.
of Ohio.
The Ohio University. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes, August 26th, Idaho State, UCLA, at Oregon State, Boise State, at Air Force.
Now we're going to the conference.
At Hawaii, Nevada's here.
You can see why they would like to get
Colorado
into
State,
the Pac-12
San
at some
Jose
point.
State, and Fresno State.
Can't wait.
Hair's on fire for that.
Come back. If you want to join us, 833-288-0973.
My wife turned me on to this guy. So before our beautiful, talented, lovely women in the audience get mad at us for playing this, I got this from my wife. She gave this to me.
That kind of makes it okay.
I was unaware.
Is that what you're saying?
I was unaware of this man before she turned me onto him.
I found his TikTok page and scrolled it sitting next to my wife.
Yes, it's one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Both of us laughing our asses off.
Please don't be mad at us. Don't ring the bell on us. And you're more than welcome to call in too. 833-288-0973. Ladies line is absolutely screaming right now. You're gonna love this dude. He his TikTok guys.
You sold me. I'm
Chip Layton.
I'll be here after the break. Let's just say that I will be here with more Ben and Woods. By the way, this hour of Ben and Woods brought to you by the Golf Mart on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. That's a little nervous about what we're about to play, but funny is funny.
It's okay.
And
It's fine.
funny.
Yeah.
So
It's funny.
I can't deny that.
Maybe
But
fix your camera.
we will have the phone lines open for you.
You
you
didn't
wanna
like
join
doubling
us.
up on me right there, Paul. You can watch us.
833-288-0973.
You can watch us on YouTube as well. Search Ben and Woods. You can
Shout out
watch
to the
along.
YouTube chat.
Shout out to the chat. Bunch of lunatics in there. I'm gonna get. Yeah, I mean, my wife is the one that turned me on to this, so I can't. I'm absolved of anything. And this guy's really, really funny. It's things he's apologized to his wife for. And you know, when you're married to somebody, things can go a little awry sometimes. Yeah, and you find yourself apologizing or not apologizing. Little things.
You like to stick your feet in the sand. You like to take a stand and not apologize. Maybe a little too much.
I'm getting better. That's part of my therapy, actually. I am apologizing way faster than normal and better apologies. Better quality apologies is something I'm learning instead of, hey, I'm sorry that made you mad. That doesn't really count. Like, that's not, hey, I'm sorry you got offended. Like, that's a crap apology. And I'm learning.
It's not an
that.
apology.
That's not an apology.
I'm sorry you're so sensitive.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah, right. So, like, I screwed up a couple weeks ago. I went in almost immediately, which usually it's honestly before be like 48 hours. Literally, I'll be like, sorry. And now I mess up, whatever. I'm very sorry. Apologize for my actions. I will do better. Right. And it's very much appreciated. And she's noticing. It's helping. Therapy's
That's
helping
good.
me to learn how to do that instead of being a stubborn idiot.
These apologies, though, are of a different sort of nature, and
This guy-
you have to hear him.
This
But
guy-
I know we all instantly related.
Oh,
Yeah, we
everyone.
did.
and I
related
know
as well.
people listening.
And by the way, you said your wife related. She's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I get it.
She goes,
I
yep.
fully get
Yep.
what he's apologizing
100%.
for. Oh, this guy is
All right,
phenomenal.
you'll hear some of these right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. It looks like we can already scratch ladder in lanes off of our morning commute bingo card, guys. Northbound 125 just past Hamishaw. Watch out for it. It's in the fast lane. Also, collision on westbound King Freeway. This is right before 30th Street. Tow truck is on scene. Everything is in the center divide. You're in for kind of a rough ride along the 67. Some extended night road work has got northbound lane 67, that right lane blocked from Johnson Lake to Poway Road, and southbound from Scripps Poway Parkway to Vigilante. So if that is your route, give yourself extra time. Coach Quintero and Joe Musgrove's choice. They're a different kind of dealership looking to be a solid community partner and deliver excellent service. Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Chevrolet, find new roads. And Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3, The Fan.
I just want to say I'm sorry to Kelly Danik that people don't secure their ladders
you
well
both.
enough,
Some idiot.
and they end up in the roadways. And I know how frustrating that is for Kelly.
What's your camera up?
My camera.
Yeah, you look like a newt. There, okay,
Oh,
let's get on the
hey.
same level here. What are we doing here?
I thought
Holy
you worked in
cow.
television.
Yeah, what's happening? All right, here we go. All right, this guy by the name, I hate TikTok. I really do. This guy's doing it right. If all TikTok was like this, I'd spend a lot more time on TikTok. His name's Chip Layton. He goes by the Layton Show, and
He's got like 500,000 followers
bro,
on
he's
TikTok.
his delivery, the deadpan delivery. All right, enough selling it. Let's just play it. Probably things he apologized to his wife for.
All right, some more stuff I apologize to my wife for. When I stood up at the beach, a few grains of sand flew off my towel. I'm sorry I couldn't control them. Next time I'm going to lie directly on the sand so it cakes on my body and can't fly off. Next, the dishwasher didn't get everything clean. We're not sure if this is a loading issue or someone picked the wrong cycle, but it's been strongly suggested that it's my fault. All right, finally, she didn't like the song that was playing on the radio
My favorite.
when I started the car.
Right.
I'm sorry I couldn't hear the music before it was playing. Next time I'm going to give the radio station a heads up that we're going to hit the road. That way they can start the 2 hours of Taylor Swift ahead of time.
He's the greatest, dude. He is the greatest. So good.
These are things I've had to apologize to my wife for. Last night when I was cutting my steak, I let my knife touch the plate for a fraction of a second. Obviously, I need to get better at stopping the knife in the millimeter of space between the bottom of the steak and the top of the plate. Next, I accidentally laughed at her insane theory that the floor under the treadmill at the gym is slanted, so she's actually running uphill and not getting credit for it. Yep. I should have immediately accepted her unfounded theory without any expression on my face. Number 3, I didn't want to sell our house and buy one worth twice as much that we couldn't afford. Obviously, I need to either get a second job or think outside the box. Number 4, when I sprained my ankle, I had a walking boot and I was limping too loudly up the stairs. The thing to do would have been to lay down on my good leg and silently drag my body up the stairs using the railing. And finally, I didn't like a show that she recommended.
He's my favorite. So he goes, I just crashed my car laughing. It's his delivery, man.
He is so good.
He doesn't get mad. He has a whole series. He has some that he does with his teenagers, things I've apologized to my teenagers for. The wife stuff, though, man. I mean,
the wife stuff killed me. There's a couple of teenager ones. He's like, I apologize to my teenager for giving her a thumbs up at her swim meet.
Yes, which is obviously completely lame. Yes, he gave his daughter a thumbs up. Dad, you idiot. I'm dying. I was dying. And so like at my house, the biggest one is mine would sound like this. So I'd like to apologize to my wife for chewing while I eat at dinner. I need to get better about just maybe drinking liquid dinners, having liquids instead of food that you need to chew. And I do apologize. She looks at me and I don't smack. I don't eat with my mouth open. The sound of chewing makes her homicidal a little bit. And I see her sharpening her knife. And she's going to stab me if I don't stop chewing this meal. So she'll get up and go stand in the kitchen. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. But we can go out to restaurants, fine. She can deal with it. But at home, she wants me to eat silently.
I've definitely apologized for silverware touching the plate.
Touching the plate before? Yeah.
Cutting the steak one really resonated.
The mouth on the fork. I've done this to her. I've gone, how's that fork taste? And that would be one she could say to me, I'm sorry that my teeth accidentally grazed the fork as I ate this salad. I apologize for you raging at me. 833-288-0973. I want to hear from the ladies out there if we can, to like even it out a little bit because I do feel bad. I don't want to attack just you guys.
I had one.
A couple more things I've apologized to my wife for.
Ben's got one. Hang on.
I have to apologize that the broccoli that we cooked did not smell very good.
As opposed to all of the other more fragrant broccoli.
Just was not happy about how the broccoli smelled.
I've apologized.
I am very sorry.
Broccoli reeks.
The broccoli
it reeks.
Didn't meet with your smell approval.
Yeah.
I've apologized for driving southbound with my wife in the front seat and the sun setting on our right side. It was too bright, shining through her window. I should have just driven north. And just made nothing but like right turns.
Just to keep the sun from beating on her directly. I almost just peed my pants. That's amazing.
I turned the fan on when I was hot at night. Are you crazy? Feel my hands. To be fair, her hands were quite cold. So what I got to do in that situation is either lie there with a damp washcloth on my forehead all night or just learn to enjoy sweating. And next, I don't worry enough. Some recent things I should have been more concerned about. There was a car driving on the road in front of our house. There was a funny smell coming from the laundry room. And our cat was licking her back paw way more than usual.
Things that he should have been more concerned. There was a car out in front of our house. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what it would take to get him here. Can he be our fourth chair? Can he have him here in the studio on a daily basis, talking Padres, talking Aztecs, whatever he wants to talk? He's brilliant, man. He lays me. Do we have more?
I got more.
Oh, give me more.
All right, there's more stuff I apologize to my wife for. I couldn't hear her. This is probably because she was talking to me from 2 rooms away while I was frying bacon. Obviously, I just got to follow her around in case she decides to start talking to me. Next, I got sick. That's my bad. When I was a baby, I should have talked to my parents about moving us to a farm so I could build a stronger immune system. And finally, the roof leaked again. That's on me. When I saw that it was raining, I should have risked my life to climb up on the roof and brought a bunch of sponges or something.
He's amazing. The sick one. Yeah, I've told you guys, no, in my house, if I get sick, I'm like in trouble. We've gotten in knockdown, drag out fights because I remember when I got strep throat. She made it seem like I was walking around town, like, what is that, a handrail? Licking handrails. Like, hey, buddy, you look sick. Can you spit into my mouth? I mean, she was so mad at me for going upstairs. By the way, highly contagious strep throat. Highly contagious. We had 2 small children. And I'm like, I'm going to go sleep upstairs where I can't infect anybody. She thought I was just like trying to get out of 48 hours of parenting. I'm like, I'm up here dying. I'm gargling with lidocaine. I'm like, I swear to you, I'd rather be with you and the kids. Oh my gosh, I got sick. That's my bad.
In the chat, the beef says, my wife loses something and yells at me when she can't find it. I should be more responsible in knowing where all of her things are at all times.
This guy.
Ray says, my wife will get mad that I didn't stop her from eating it so much at dinner.
I mean, Robin says, let's get the wives. Call 833-288-0973. I would love to hear from you guys.
One more clip here from Chip.
Some more things I've apologized to my wife for. I was being too logical again. I think the Enlightenment happened like 300 years ago, but around here, the age of reason is still treated as sort of a buzzkill. Next, the missing TV remote was in fact found closest to me. This followed a breakdown in the marital trust when I said, I'm not sitting on it. And she said, get up. And finally, I couldn't smell something. If you're looking to avoid the why can't you smell that conversation, I suggest immediately offering up either the trash or the garbage disposal as the culprits. This prevents other more problematic scenarios from being imagined, like the dead animal in the wall.
It smells like there's a dead rat up here somewhere. I know there is. Oh my God, I love him. I love that guy. It's the delivery, man. The delivery is just what lays me. That's
Janine
my bad.
is skeptical. She says these stories can't be true. I would never get mad at my husband for any of these things. So then you, Janine, are a saint.
That is absolutely incredible. Oh, it's absolutely incredible. Loved it. Loved it.
Megan says Paul can never smell anything I smell either. Yes.
Yeah.
They our
So do you smell
wives
it?
tend to
I
have
no idea what I nothing.
sharper senses of smell than we do.
God, that's good. That is
that is our fault.
Good, man. That is so good. I'd like to, as he updates, would like to play them.
Yeah.
Because he really delights me, man. He really, really does. Again, 833-288-0973. You can call.
I think people are terrified because
of their wives.
Yes, if they
or their husbands,
it
right?
could go wrong. And you hear, what were you saying about me on the radio this morning?
So good. So good.
Would be a very dicey proposition.
Oh God. That delighted me to no end.
That was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. That was the teenager. I mean, what is his what's his YouTube or TikTok, Paulie? What is he?
Let me pull it up here. It's the Leighton Show.
The Leighton Show. Leighton. He is so funny, dude.
Let's see. Apologies. Yeah, the teenager ones are pretty good.
Yeah, teenager ones are hysterical. Tony Bubble says, please support. Please post a link to him. Yeah, we'll put it on put it up on Twitter. He's amazing. He's amazing. The Leighton Show. Let's see if he's got an account right now.
These are more things I've apologized to my teenagers for. First, when my son told me he met his future college roommate, I harassed him with several overly detailed probing questions, which he was not able to answer. These included, where's he from? What's his name? And do you remember anything about him? Next, I took one chip from the plate of nachos I made for my daughter, or in her words, you're literally stealing from your own child. This followed my initial mistake of mixing in some of those nasty blue corn tortilla chips. And finally, my estimate of when our 7-hour car trip would end was 2 minutes off. Sorry, I'm not more accurate with my prophecies.
You know how much I'm dreading being a parent of teenagers. You have any idea how much I am dreading being a parent of those two teenagers? Holy cow, man. It's hard enough right now. Oh my God. Well, little comedy for you guys, some light comedy on a Tuesday before we get back into, why we're really here to talk about the
There's
San
more
Diego
driving related
Padres.
stuff I've apologized to my wife for. When the light was taking forever to turn green, I guess it was my fault because I wasn't stopped in the right spot. You got to inch forward. It needs to know you're there. What I should have done is get out of the car, wave my arms back and forth while jogging around the vehicle. Next, we almost ran out of gas while she was driving. Why didn't you tell me it was so low? I started to say that's kind of the driver's thing. But she made it pretty clear that that's my department. And finally, because I didn't write the code for the GPS software we were using, I couldn't answer the question, why is it taking us this way? So if you work at like Google and like engineering or something, maybe shoot me a message.
He's a genius.
That's my bad.
He is a
He's
genius.
a genius. The radio station one's my favorite. I'll let the radio station know we're about to hit the road.
She didn't like the song that was playing on the radio when I started the car.
It's so good. Holy cow, I love it.
All right, we'll come back. We got a game of Take on Woods coming up next. Talk some more Padres as well. It's Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
On behalf of Ben and Woods, we would like to apologize to Padres fans out there that we hyped up. We didn't take into account that Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Xander Bogaerts, Juan Soto, Jake Cronenworth, Trent Grisham, Joe Musgrove, Josh Hader, Blake Snell, Yu Darvish would come out and be terrible this year. So that's on us. It's on us. Our hype machine, we've let a lot of people down.
Well, yeah, I mean,
if we're apologizing for stuff,
there was no reason to think they would have been good.
Right.
That was crazy of us to actually
none whatsoever
go down that road, obviously. So we are very sorry to Padres fans for that.
Yeah, that was great.
That was great, actually. I really enjoyed that.
Really enjoy.
Get a couple more from our listeners out there.
Chip Layton. Mike said, I want to apologize for not hearing my wife because I was watching the Padres with earbuds in. That's on me. I should have known to watch without them after she's already complained that she can hear it. Also for buying the wrong apples when the list just said apples.
No, we talked about that yesterday.
Apples.
Yeah. Specific lists.
Dinner, lunch.
Helpful.
Yep.
We need a contestant for Take on Woods coming up here in a couple of minutes. Had a big winner yesterday. You could join Roger, be the next in the drawing for our grand prize getaway to Las Vegas. Musical trivia coming up, 833-288-0973. We talked yesterday about how the Angels are now listening on Shohei Ohtani trade proposals. Ohtani yesterday hit number 35, came in a come-from-behind 4-3 win over the New York Yankees in 10 innings. The Yankees are in the torture chamber. They come out of the break losing 2 of 3 to the Rockies, and now they lose to the struggling Angels and have fallen into last place in the AL East. The Boston Red Sox going the other way have won 8 out of 9. They blanked the A's yesterday 7-0. They got 2 more against Oakland, so good chance at 2 more wins. And the Yankees now are potentially falling into the same boat as the Padres and the Mets. You could see a situation here, Woods, where the 3 highest priced rosters, the biggest payrolls in baseball, all are forced to consider selling off pieces at the trade deadline because they're not that much in contention. Now, the Yankees, I think, are only about 2 or 3 games out, still in the wild card, but there's more teams ahead of them. They keep piling up, and they are going the wrong direction while other teams are getting hot. The Orioles are playing great right now. The Blue Jays, who the Padres face tonight, they've won a few games in a row, taking advantage of the Diamondbacks who've been slumping lately. They just swept Arizona coming out of the All-Star break. So there's a lot of trouble in the Bronx right now as well with the New York Yankees.
Yeah, 2.5 out of the wild card there, Benny. 50 and 45. I couldn't believe it. There was audio this morning of Aaron Boone, and they asked him, hey, you ever consider not pitching to Shohei Ohtani? Oh, no.
Well, he walked intentionally with runners at first and third earlier in the game. So he definitely considered not pitching to him a couple of times during that game last night.
Not this time. And Shohei touched him up, and Shohei continues to do what Shohei does. And I just can't. It's going to be the craziest next few weeks. If you're the Angels and you are planning on moving him, and again, let me look at their numbers right now. The Angels are 5.5 games out of a wild card, Ben. They are 47 and 48. But again, 5.5 out of a wild card. They're 3-7 in their last 10. Man, I don't know. I just don't know what you do.
I mean, you look at if had they not been swept by the Padres, the Angels might be thinking very differently right now. But that series really crushed them before the All-Star break. I look back at Shohei Ohtani's game logs last night. He is pretty much dominated in every series the last couple of months, except for the Padres series.
Yeah.
0 for 20.
Yeah.
Somehow the Padres were able to shut him down where
20?
it was 0 for 10. Oh, he was 0 for 10.
Yeah.
Right. And Pete Alonso also went 0 for 10 in that series. Together they were 0 for 20 without a home run that last week before the All-Star break. But outside of that, he's found a way to pretty much go deep, and usually multiple times in every series. And he is now I think 1 home run off of Aaron Judge's pace from last year.
Yep.
When
he's projected to be
quote unquote set the home run record. You don't count the 70s.
What did Judge hit last year? 62?
62.
62. Yeah, he's on pace for like 59 or 60 right now. Is Shohei.
The side-by-side of Judge's season last year and where Ohtani's at that point.
Well, they did a side-by-side, too, of Ohtani and Babe Ruth. That was staggering. Their ERA is about the same. Their 1 loss is about the same. And I think Shohei had one more or one fewer home run after the first X number of games in their career. It's like the parallel. It's staggering. It's that close, which is just nuts to be doing it in this era, obviously. And it's just going to be so fascinating to watch what they do in the next couple of weeks. I saw a report this morning. Artie Moreno said he doesn't want to trade him to the Dodgers.
I did see that as well.
So he's like, I'll listen, but not to the Dodgers. So now they can absolutely go out and sign him in the offseason. So whoever trades for Shohei Ohtani, sure, I would imagine you're going to have a chance to re-sign him. That being said, it feels very much like just a couple of month rental.
Let me ask you about that. And we still need a contestant. Call in now, 833-288-0973. We're only like 3 minutes away from Take on Woods, and you can get in right now, 833-288-0973. How much do you think it helps a team? Let's say you do want to sign Shohei Ohtani in the offseason. How much does it help you to get him in a couple of months early, to give him a taste of your organization, to get familiar with things? I think undoubtedly it's an advantage. Even if he goes to free agency, just the fact that you've been able
get him
to
in the building.
Just the fact that you've been able to get him into the building, get him hopefully comfortable with some of your coaches and personnel. And I think it makes the free agent decision a lot less intimidating.
Well, and give him a taste of what will definitely be postseason baseball, because you don't make this move if you're not
expecting to be a postseason team.
Honestly, if you're in the AL, Tampa Bay, Texas, Minnesota, Baltimore, Toronto, Houston, and then your outliers are the Yankees, Seattle, Boston. Other than that, you might as well just stay in LA.
I don't think the outlier teams are the ones that are going after him. I think it's the teams that are
in
almost locked into a playoff spot.
Then you look at teams like the Braves. I mean, the Braves, the Dodgers, Moreno said he won't trade to the Dodgers. Milwaukee, San Francisco, Arizona, Miami, still kind of hanging around. Philly, Cincinnati. And then there's the Padres at 8 games back. I just don't know.
Now, the counter argument, of course, is if you wait until the offseason, you can have both Shohei Ohtani and keep your top prospects as well. You can have
but you don't get a face
your cake and eat it too.
It's like if you're on The Bachelor, if you're on The Bachelor and they're like, you get 7 hours with her before anybody else.
A one-on-one date versus a group date.
That's exactly right.
Essentially what we're talking about here.
And you alone, Ben, get a whole date with her before anybody else does. Yeah, you take that shot.
This is the one-on-one date with The Bachelor.
That's it. And it's 3 months.
And the cost will be a couple of top prospects at least.
Yep.
But you get that foot in the door. You get that introduction. Hopefully you put your best foot forward. Now it could backfire as well. He could show up for 2 months and go, I didn't really like the coaching staff that much. We got knocked out in the first game of the wild card series, whatever. And I didn't like that experience. And now you're out prospects, and he has a sour feeling. So you need to nail it. You need to stick the landing if you trade for Shohei Ohtani and you want to sign him as a free agent.
Yeah, I can't picture him in any other uniform than the LA Dodgers in the offseason. It's really hard for me to do so. I know there are places that could use him. I know he's a fit every single place. Every team he's a fit for. Every team could use a top of the rotation arm and a power hitting, DH.
I mean, if you're a Padres fan, the best case scenario would be the Dodgers, in their attempt to go for it, trade big time prospects for Shohei Ohtani. He goes there, doesn't really like it that much, and it cements his decision to sign somewhere else in the offseason. And then they're out prospects, they're out Ohtani. And
where has that happened before? What superstar player got traded to the Dodgers mid-season and then signed with a division rival?
Correct.
About 100 miles south.
Manuel Arturo.
Now, it could happen to the Padres with Juan Soto coming up here as well. Now, not after just 2 months, but that would be a danger if the Padres held on to Soto for another season and he hits free agency and goes somewhere else. You've traded, 4 really good prospects and ended up. We'll see how good they end up being.
Is anybody really missing Mackenzie Gore right now?
Yes, I miss Mackenzie Gore.
I miss being excited about James Wood more than I miss anyone else, which is funny because I've never actually seen James Wood play just a real game.
It's the word of mouth.
It is.
The Soto trade is the one that I really cannot get on board with. I think you're not going to get you might retool your farm system, you will for sure.
Will.
But that doesn't help you win in 2024.
Correct.
I
He
think
does.
Juan Soto helps you win in 2024. Trading him for prospects just pushes
That's the beginning of the year for sure.
the goal
Can't do
line
it.
down. It's just pushing.
Well, we're
everything
really
forward.
happy about what
It's-
we reloaded
It's
with.
one more year of Manny Machado's prime that is most likely a waste next year. You can still be all in for 2024, given how terrible 2023 has gone by keeping Juan Soto.
Correct.
A guy who, by the way, would be playing in a contract year
Correct.
and needs to play his ass off if he wants to recuperate from turning down a $450 million offer.
No doubt.
Ready to get your thinking cap on for a little take on Woods? All right, hit it, Paulie. All right, Dan is the man today. Dan, welcome to Take on Woods. How you doing this morning?
Not too bad. Good morning, boys. How's it going?
Good morning. All right,
What's up, Dan?
Woods has left the studio. You get to go first. Then Woods will come back in. He'll get the same 5 questions you get. If you can beat or tie him, you will qualify for our grand prize July drawing, a 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino and 2 tickets to the Skid Row Warrant concert with special guest Paralandra in the International Theater at the Westgate on September 30th. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. The Westgate Las Vegas features newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million room renovations, home of legendary Vegas fun. You get to pick our category here, Dan. Your choices, but who's counting? All about counting. Can't do it. 5 song titles that begin with the word can't. And our new category, Sounds of Summer. 5 musical answers that include the word summer. So, Dan, which of those sounds good to you? But who's counting? Can't do it or Sounds of Summer?
Can't do it. Let's try that.
Can't do it. Okay, again, today's game features 5 song titles that all begin with the word can't. You'll have 60 seconds to answer as many of the 5 as you can. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We will come back to it if there is time remaining on the clock. At the end, we start with our 2-second song. Paulie will play a short clip of a well-known hit. You need to give me the title. Starts with the word can't, and the artist to score that point. Are you ready to play?
Let's do it.
All right, Dan, 60 seconds on the clock. Category is can't do it. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Dan. Let's take on Woods.
Pass.
A 1987 movie starring Patrick Dempsey as a nerdy high schooler takes its title from which Beatles song?
Pass.
In one of his biggest hits, Frankie Valli sings "You're Just Too Good to Be True" ahead of which title line?
Pass.
Which hit by The Weeknd was named the top song of 2015 by Rolling Stone?
Pass.
REO Speedwagon's Kevin Cronin wrote which 1985 power ballad that spent 3 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard charts?
Can't fight the spelling.
That's correct. Go back to our 2-second song.
Pass.
1987 movie starring Patrick Dempsey as a nerdy high. Ooh, all right, we did get the one at the end. Can't Fight
Got
This
the
Feeling
one.
by REO Speedwagon. That song is Can't Stop by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. The movie is Can't Buy Me Love from the Beatles song. Can't Take My Eyes Off of You is Frankie Valli. You're Just Too Good to Be True. Can't Take My Eyes Off of You. And The Weeknd, their big hit, Can't Feel My Face.
I can feel my
Face when I'm with you. All right, let's bring Woods back in.
I think Woods got this one.
Dan's score is locked in. Woods trying to bounce back from Rogers' win yesterday. He doesn't get the category. Definitely makes it harder. He can do it, though. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Dan.
Can't Stop, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Correct. A 1987 movie starring Patrick Dempsey as a nerdy high schooler takes its
Can't Buy
title.
Me Love.
Correct. In one of his biggest hits, Frankie Valli sings "You're Just Too Good to Be True" ahead of.
Can't Take My Eyes Off. You.
Correct. Which hit by The Weeknd was named the top song of 2015 by Rolling Stone?
I can't feel my face.
Correct. REO Speedwagon's Kevin Cronin wrote which 1985 power ballad?
Can't fight this feeling anymore.
Very nice. A good bounce back 5-1 win for Woodsy today in the category Can't Do It.
I can do it.
All
and I did it.
songs beginning with the word can't.
Woo, man.
All right. Next time we will play tomorrow and another chance for someone to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas. Woodsy has a hockey player in the Don't Do This spotlight today.
Dude.
Oh, it's a do.
No,
it's a
it's
don't.
a-
It's a
it's-
dude.
dude,
It's a don't.
Dude, it is a don't. I've seen this story for like 4 days. I keep forgetting to bring it up. It's one of the gnarlier DUI stories you will hear. Not every day you hear one like this. Holy smokes.
All right. And then, well, I've got two that I'm choosing from, both from the world of baseball. You can help me decide during the break. And we will come back with Don't Do This coming up after a check of traffic. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back.
Don't do this.
It's time for Don't Do This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't do this
Do not tweet that.
with Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
Got Jesse Agler coming up at 8 o'clock, a little earlier than we usually get Jesse. I think it's something to do with the Canadian exchange rate for when he joins us this morning. That'll be at 8 a.m., top of the hour. Stay tuned for Jesse Agler on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads.
We're doing it in French, by the way, with Jesse Agler.
Ooh.
Yeah, the whole interview.
Well, that's the Montreal.
I know.
The Toronto is more of the English
American.
speaking.
It's all right.
You actually
part of
left
Canada.
yesterday, early Woods. You didn't hear the promo that we made yesterday for today's show.
Ben and Woods on The Fan.
Coming up Tuesday, Ben Accent Alert. We'll talk about the Padres with Jesse Agler as they head to Canada to take on the Blue Jays.
I was leaving early right now.
Guess we're starting Don't Do This a little earlier than I expected today.
Sorry.
My Don't Do
You
This centers around Hall of Famer Johnny Bench of the Cincinnati Reds, who was at a news conference over the weekend. The Reds are inducting a new trio into their Reds Hall of Fame. Bronson Arroyo, Danny Graves, a couple of pitchers, and former general manager Gabe Paul. Long time ago, he passed away in 1998, but he was being honored, and he had family members there as well. And during the press conference, his daughter, Jenny Paul, who was speaking, talked about the first contract negotiation that Gabe Paul had with Pete Rose when he was still a young player. And he said, when I got out of high school in 1960, Pete Rose said, Gabe Paul signed me to a contract for $400 a month. And Jenny, his daughter, kind of jokes. He goes, that cheap. Never mind. Just kind of taking a little lighthearted shot at her dad, which was funny. But then Johnny Bench, who's sitting there in the audience, yells, he was Jewish.
Oh.
And some people laughed and some people groaned. But Johnny Bench later apologized to Jenny Paul, saying, I recognize my comment was insensitive. I apologize to Jenny for taking away from her father the full attention he deserves. Gabe Paul earned his place in the Reds Hall of Fame, same as the others who stood on that stage.
Low-hanging fruit from Johnny Bench.
Like any other stereotype, it's not true.
No.
Many people, just you can't do that and do that, Johnny. That's not okay.
Well, this story is about former Phoenix Coyote Alex Galchenyuk. If I pronounced that correctly, boy, what a you hear about people drinking and driving. Okay, he took it a step further. Officers noticed that he was driving erratically, hit a curb and then a sign, and a training officer and a trainee arrived. They saw him on the ground about 20 feet from the car. They watched another man put him in the passenger seat before driving off. Right, so the officer pulls the car over. Noticed both men were massively impaired. So Galchenyuk becomes very agitated. He's making erratic movements, and then he pulls the I'm gonna chop you, your wife, and your daughter.
I thought you were gonna say he pulls it. Do you know who I am?
Well,
I used to play for the
kinda did.
He says
Coyotes.
one phone call and you're all dead.
Oh,
Your whole
That's
family,
totally different.
your bloodline is dead.
oh my God.
That's not the do you know who I am?
No, he was born in the U.S. to Russian parents. He spent a lot of time in Russia. He
It's
uttered
like the do you know who I am's evil cousin.
Yeah, exactly. He uttered several racial slurs at the officer in training, and man, just not good at all. So he was actually they cut him. He had signed to a 1 year, $775,000.
KGB.
Yeah, I like Russian mob type stuff, and he said, all I need to do is make one phone call, and I will kill your entire family.
Oh my God.
Spent the night in jail, and was released the next day on his own recognizance. Yikes!
All right, let's change direction for some do this.
DD mega doo-doo.
Love this story. Officially announced this morning Alex Morgan, forward for our San Diego Wave and the U.S. women's national team, getting ready to start the Women's World Cup in New Zealand later this week, has announced today an official partnership between her foundation and Rady Children's Hospital here in San Diego to support mothers and help raise the next generation of healthy and inspired kids. Alex's quote, shortly after moving to Southern California with my family and putting down roots in San Diego, I became aware of Rady Children's outstanding reputation and commitment to families. I'm so proud to partner with the best in pediatric healthcare, whose mission and standard of excellence align with my personal values and the core pillars of my foundation. A couple of things here. First of all, great to see Alex Morgan, one of the biggest names in all of sports now. I mean, the popularity of women's soccer through the roof in this country. You see these girls, especially like at Wave games, women's national team games. They're crazy for this team, crazy for these women. And Alex Morgan is the biggest star among them. Seems like a really, really great person too, giving back, just really getting part of the community in San Diego right away. You love to see that. I love to see the partnership with Rady Children's. They have been very important in our lives, our kids growing up. I mean, we've had times that, emergency room that we weren't sure, our kid was going to survive.
Right.
And it's like we're there, and the doctors and nurses just do such an unbelievable job. It's hard enough to be a healthcare professional, but when you also have to worry about parents and taking care of kids that are there and worried, it's got to be one of the toughest jobs out there. And they do an amazing, amazing job. So hats off to Alex Morgan Foundation. Hats off to Rady Children's Hospital. Really fantastic. And good luck to the team taking on Vietnam Friday night, our time, Saturday day in Auckland, New Zealand, in their first Women's World Cup game. I saw.
What time's the game? Saturday?
It's like 6 o'clock, I think, or 7
In the
o'clock
morning?
here. PM. No,
PM, okay.
our time. It's like daytime in New Zealand, Saturday there.
Got it.
Nighttime, prime time here in San Diego. I saw them practicing yesterday. I got some video at Channel 10, and they're all dressed like almost in these puffy, like parka jackets. And I was like, that's weird. And I go, oh, no, wait. The middle of winter in New Zealand.
It's cold, right?
They're in the southern hemisphere, so it's not summer, it's winter. It's kind of chilly and cold there, and so they were all
like
kind
a
of
dress
bundled
rehearsal, if you will.
Yeah,
there you go.
So good luck to Alex Morgan and Team USA starting this Friday at the Women's World Cup.
Beautiful.
And that is Don't and Do This for Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, still wondering how the Padres are going to respond if they continue to go on the course that they have. Seems to me like they're going to have no other choice but to sell. Is there any way to other than a 12-game winning streak, is there any other path out for the San Diego Padres?
Can AJ Preller change his tune after what he gave the quotes to MLB Network on Saturday? It's Monday or Tuesday. Can you change your course and become sellers?
Is there also a way to sell, but also add somehow to help you in the future?
Buy and sell.
What does that look like? We're going to talk about that coming up next. Take your phone calls, 833-288-0973. It's Ben Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Star 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by SC Johnson STEM. There has been undoubtedly one very bright spot to this Padres season. Yet, what you do with it going forward remains a bit of a dilemma for A.J. Preller. We're going to talk about that and the trade deadline coming up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Traffic is sponsored by the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. The crash on westbound 8 just before East Main Street. They're saying the fast lane and the slow lane are blocked, so stay to the middle, westbound side of the 8 before East Main Street. And heading out of the south lane, northbound 805 before the 54. Accident involving a couple of cars. That is over to the right shoulder. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department is working hard to keep San Diego safe and is now hiring. The Sheriff's Department offers rewarding careers with growth and has an opportunity for anyone with integrity who wants to make a difference. Go to joinsdsheriff.net to learn more. That's joinsdsheriff.net. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Woods, I made the suggestion on Twitter over the weekend that if the Padres want to do something positive out of this, wreckage of a season, the one thing they could do is reward Ha-Seong Kim for what has been, I think, just a bright, shining spot of this year, and the way he has played and the way he has continued to improve. And if you want to open up contract extension talks and maybe sign Ha-Seong Kim to a new deal, I think it would be a feel-good story for him, for the team, for the fans.
What's he got left?
You got one more year after this. So it's not an urgent matter. Now, we've seen the Padres.
How do you do that?
We've seen the Padres absolutely do these things before, like they did with Jake Cronenworth. There was no urgency to get a deal done. They went and got it done. They wanted him to be part of their core moving forward. The trouble with Ha-Seong Kim, of course, is now that you've signed Jake Cronenworth and you have Xander Bogaerts for 11 years and Manny Machado, for another decade, where do you have a spot necessarily to play him? Because Jake Cronenworth at first base hasn't worked out very well for the Padres.
No, you rolled the dice there with Cronenworth being able to take over at first base, and there's been definitely nice moments defensively, not so much offensively, and that's a position you definitely need production from. So it kind of hamstrings you, and you'd hate to lose Ha-Seong Kim, who, like you said, conversely to Jake Cronenworth, whose trajectory every year has gone down, Ha-Seong Kim's has gone up. And I mean, the guy's a gold glover at least two positions. He can play short, he can play second, both. He can fill in at third. He's fantastic with the glove. So and you're seeing him improve, get on the fastball a little bit better. You're seeing a little more power. You're seeing all of it. And he plays hard. He swipes bags for you. He does it all. And you gambled on the Jake Cronenworth deal, which really, when you look back on it now, I was very happy for Jake. I still am. I love Jake. I think he's a great dude. That being said, he hasn't lived up to yet in the first few months. He hasn't paid off that gamble that they took on him to cement himself as the first baseman.
Kim is not one of the top players. I think it's in B-WAR, Baseball Reference WAR, in Major League Baseball for no reason at all. I think he was running right behind Ronald Acuna in the National League and still continues his trajectory upward. And I think that, to me, is the key. He's the one guy that you can point to on the Padres who continues to get better. From the moment he arrived from Korea and looked up pretty lost at the plate facing Major League pitching, which is a big step above what he had faced in Korea, was overmatched, had to spend a lot of time on the bench in his first season. Last year, with Fernando Tatis Jr. out, he got to play every day and took some good strides forward, became a absolute lockdown defender at shortstop and started to, he hit the softer throwing pitchers a little bit better. You can count on him against, soft tossing lefties. He hit a couple of home runs. This year, as you said, his numbers against the fastball have gotten better. His numbers against, right-handers even have gotten better. The defense has been just as good, even though they've bounced him around the field and had to move him over to second base. You want to reward that, but you've already rewarded other players, and you've kind of painted yourself into a bit of a corner. What would you do? Well, you could move Jake Cronenworth to a different position. You don't have a lot of positions out there on the field. If you traded Juan Soto, you could convert him to an outfielder and try that with Jake, and then sign a first baseman, a bat. that usually it's easier to fill that position. You line up, and then Kim stays at second. That's one thing you could do, but you don't have a lot of flexibility right now if you're AJ Preller. And I would hate to think that the casualty of your lack of flexibility, the casualty for maybe giving out one or too good deals to other guys, is that you no longer have room on your roster moving forward for someone like Ha-Seong Kim.
Yeah, and it's not I don't think it's a money thing. It's a room thing. It's a where do you play him and when? And Jake obviously is better suited at second base. But Ha-Seong Kim is a better second baseman and really a better all-around player right now, certainly. So, you would hate to see him go somewhere else after next year. You really would.
One thing that, I've always said before, and it's a lot easier to say than it is to do, but once you've spent that money, it's spent. You can't get it back. It doesn't necessarily make it a good decision to keep putting a player out there when he doesn't deserve to be out there, even though he's spending a lot of money. I know
we've seen that.
It covers your butt, and you keep hoping, well, we've invested so much in this guy. We need him to turn it around. We need him to be out there. But at some point, you have to recognize we have a better player than you are.
But you cannot do that 3 months into a 7-year extension.
No, you can't.
That's where you're screwed. If you're them, you've made that bed. You can't unmake it at this point.
I'm not saying they get rid of Jake. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a future on the team. But at some point, even if the Padres were in it right now, let's say they've won a few of these one-run games and extra inning games, and they're actually just like a game or two out of the wild card instead of 8 games out. But everything else statistically is pretty much the same. The smart thing to do would still be to pick up a bat at first base 100%. And pretty much put Jake on the bench.
Correct.
For the rest of this season. That would absolutely be the smart thing to do. Now, you'd certainly hope in the offseason Jake figures it out. He's not going anywhere, I don't think. You're not offloading that contract. There's not going to be a lot of takers right now for Jake. So he's part of your team, but you're probably looking like, hey, Jake, you're going to have to be a bat off the bench.
Well, all right, what about this?
You're not going to be you're not going to be a contributor to this team in the same way, at least for the rest of this season, until we can trust you at the plate to produce.
You get a bat at first base, fine, but you DFA Carpenter. You erase. That's a mistake you can't erase, and it's just the only thing it's going to cost you is money. And then Jake can DH, a platoon, whatever, and then you can use. Well, you're kind of down an infielder then. Well, I mean, listen, that's what a bench is for. But would you rather have Jake Cronenworth DH or Matt Carpenter? I know those aren't the sexiest of options, but Matt Carpenter, I just don't see how he's able to take ABs for this team moving forward if we're going to turn it around. I don't. And I was reading an article too saying that, look, these are 3 moves the Padres must make. And the very first one was you got to DFA Matt Carpenter. The experiment didn't work. It's fine. Yeah, everybody swings and misses at times. Get rid of him. And then get rid of him, get a first baseman, and then you're kind of freed up.
If you're trying to win, yeah, I agree with that.
Trying to win.
You got to go out and find the player you hoped Matt Carpenter would be.
Exactly right.
If you're trading away, pieces though, and putting up the white flag on the season, maybe you need Matt Carpenter just to eat it a little bit. Eat some innings,
DH,
take some at bats, just be there, be a body.
Give me a young kid then. If we're waving the white flag, give me Tirso. Call him up. Let him get Rivas up. Seriously, like if we're waving the white
Carpenter
flag,
has no chance to be a part of the future
correct.
Of your team. You're just wasting at bats.
Yeah, you're wasting at bats, and it's going to cost you $16 million, whatever. Easier for me to say than done.
If he wasn't signed for next year, this would be the easiest decision ever.
That's why the Nelly decision was so easy for them. $1 million, 1 year. It's not working out. See you later. But now, if you're going to do that, and truly, if you are truly waving the white flag, Matt Carpenter getting ABs in a spot where a young kid could get, youngish kid like a Rivas or a Tirso, somebody like that, give them to them. I'd rather go watch those guys grind for a position than an aged Matt Carpenter out there swinging a wet Union Tribune. So I would. And that's not.
He's swinging the online edition right now, I think.
I mean, great dude. Love the guy, but come on, man. Like, if the white flag is truly going to be waved, and we'll see, man, it's still, as stupid as it sounds for me to say, still in their hands. They still have games ahead of them. They can right the ship. They absolutely can. Will they?
A shocking number of games still ahead of them.
Correct. before you feel like this is toast. We are toast. You've got to this week. You've got to win 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays, and you have to win all 3 against the Tigers.
Right.
We talked earlier. You were saying the most surprising thing about the 2023 Padres season so far for you has been that they cannot win 3 in a row.
That's it.
Not
4 in a row.
4 in a row. More than
all
in
of it.
scoring position, the
Name
extra inning
weird
records.
stats. Name it.
And you're like, how did we get here? And then I look at the depth. Like, look at who's the bench on any given day. It's Matt Batten,
Brandon Dixon, Rougned Odor,
Matt Carpenter,
and Austin
Brandon
Nola.
Dixon. And, that's not a championship bench.
It's not a championship.
That's not a playoff
I guess the crazy thing for me, and maybe this is just me being
some 2017 stuff there.
Ben the optimist, is that every game I still go into, unless it's one of those Ryan Weathers bullpenny days, I still pretty much go into every game thinking, I think the Padres should win today.
Absolutely.
I look at their lineup. I look at who's on the mound as a starting pitcher. I'm nervous about the bullpen, but I'm going, there's no reason the Padres shouldn't win this game today.
Correct.
Today, 100%. Joe Musgrove on the mound. Alek Manoah has had a really tough season.
He's been really bad
Padres,
at home.
Padres have been hitting pretty much for the last, month and a half decently. I go into this game thinking, well, the Padres should win this one. And I will probably go into tomorrow thinking Padres should win. They can lose. I think they can lose 25 more games and still get to 87 wins.
I know.
It's like, I can't. I mean, the way I do it in my own head, I'm going, they shouldn't lose 25 more games the rest of this season with the way this roster, this pitching staff, the stars that they have. They shouldn't lose 25 more games. So they should be in the playoffs. Yet then reality smacks me in the face every single night when something goes wrong. They fall behind. They can't come back. The bullpen blows it. Something happens every single night, and I keep getting smacked in the face going, why did you think this team was going to win? Well, I'd look at the players they have, and every night I go in thinking, oh, yeah, they should win this game. They absolutely should win this game. And then it doesn't happen. And I think that's why this season has been more frustrating, more tear your hair out, agonizing than probably any of my lifetime. The San Diego Padres.
And for me, it's the pen. The pen to me is just it's got to be keeping Bob Melvin up at night because it keeps me up at night. And again, perfect example.
But if that was it, it was just the pen, say, okay, here comes Suarez. You make a couple of pen trades. The pen's probably the easiest thing to fix.
Bro, I don't know why they
fix your pen.
I don't know why they haven't already. Aroldis Chapman was on the Rangers 2 weeks ago.
And he's pitching great.
People are taking calls on players now, and you, Kansas City, or whoever else is unloading a bullpen arm, you can get more now than by waiting. And AJ, and I understand AJ not wanting to give up more now, but that's what you need the most help on.
AJ's one of his biggest flaws.
How many wins have we choked up in just the last 6 weeks?
A ton.
One of his biggest flaws is it's almost endearing. I think he believes sometimes in his guys too much.
It's not endearing. Not on a championship team.
No, but I mean, he looks at his pen and he goes, I think these guys are going to be good. I like these guys. I'm going to give them a chance to bail out of it. And when really, if the Padres had looked a little more sober-mindedly at the bullpen a couple of weeks ago, said, we need to act early. We need to make a couple of quick moves.
100%.
Staunch the bleeding before Suarez is even going to come back. Add a piece or two, like an Aroldis Chapman, as distasteful as that might be for some people. They might not have been in this situation to begin with.
Maybe not Chapman, but you said, like Chapman.
God, if you got a half-competent bullpen, say June 5th,
but
this team is 5 games above 500.
The Royals and the Nationals are going nowhere. Certainly there's an arm or two in there.
But instead, AJ on our show, when he's talked elsewhere, has preached the patience. Like, I need to give these guys that I have a chance to prove who they are, who we believe that they are. And he has given them that chance, and they have let him down. They have not come through.
I'm happy as hell to eat my words. I love to eat. Eating my words on Brent Honeywell.
Did you gain all the weight?
No, I eat my words. Tim Hill, Brent Honeywell, Luis Garcia, Alec Jacob. I'm happy to eat my words. Whenever those guys are ready to get big outs in big situations, I'm happy to eat my words. It's been a letdown. I can't, there's no other way to put it. It's been a letdown.
Let's go to the phones. We got Bob hanging on. Bob, welcome to Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Thanks for calling this morning.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
So, thank you. Appreciate
your comments on Hassan Kim. Yesterday, all I heard all day was people talking about the Big Four and how they're the letdown, but everybody else is, nobody expected anything and it didn't matter. And I thought that was just a huge slap in the face to Kim. I mean, he is the heart and soul of this team, regardless of who gets paid what. Nobody gets a louder chance at Petco at his at bat. He is a freaking wizard with the glove at two positions, and given time at third, he could be an all-star at third.
He plays hard too, man. Plays hard every pitch, he competes. He absolutely competes. And I can't say I've seen the competition level from every one of our players that I've seen out of Hassan Kim this year. I just haven't. I haven't.
Remember, he was a 30 home run hitter in Korea. Now, no one expected that from him, but he's getting a little closer to looking like that player. If he continues, let's say he
just gives you a good app.
Let's say he continues to improve, and he's shown nothing but improvement since he's come over to the United States. If he takes what he's done this season and then ramps it up another 25%, you know what Hassan Kim is? He's an all-star and he's an MVP candidate all of a sudden. If he goes and all of a sudden is hitting 25 home runs with 35, 40 stolen bases, perhaps the best defender in the game, and ups his average to about 270, 280, you're talking about one of the best players in baseball if he continues his upward trajectory. I'm not saying he takes a huge leap. I'm saying he
didn't go to 40 bombs.
I'm just saying he continues his steady improvement, what we've seen from the first two seasons to now. He becomes literally, I think, one of the best players in all of baseball. How can you not think about a contract extension for someone who all they have to do is keep doing what they've been doing?
Yeah, don't change a thing.
And they will be an all-star and one of the best players in baseball.
No, I know.
Now, maybe at some point, it gets harder and harder to improve. As you get better, those improvements become
eventually reach your ceiling,
harder fought, and you do reach a ceiling. And there's a possibility that he will do that as well. But right now, it looks like he hasn't gotten there, and he's continuing to get better. And the possibilities with Hassan Kim remain about as exciting as any player that the Padres have at the moment.
Yeah, he cemented himself in that leadoff spot really nicely, too. I mean, setting the table. So, I couldn't agree with you more.
All right, we got Jesse Agler from Toronto, Canada, joining us next to play the Incorporator. I've picked out a good word for him. We will talk to Jesse about the international travel, having to get out the passport for the first time in a long time. That is coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, it is 8 o'clock. Normally we shoot the breeze for a couple of minutes, but instead we are going to head north of the border right now onto our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Missed him last week for the All-Star break, but it is great to have him back.
Missed him the week before that for the 4th of July.
That's right.
It's been a couple of weeks.
It's been a while.
Wow, 3 weeks since we've talked to Mr. Jesse Agler here on Bennett Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Jesse, it is a long road trip, and it is good to have you on.
It is a very long road trip, and it's like not even halfway over yet. Feels like but that's how these things tend to go. That was a long weekend.
All right. First of all, I just transparency. I took a shot at you yesterday. You did. You ticked me off. I have a bone to pick. I was listening to the game on Sunday after the rain delay, and you had your question of the day that Dave Marcus picks out of the ones submitted from the fans. And it's a good question. What do players, what do broadcasters do during long rain delays? And Tony Gwynn talked about how difficult it was as a player to manage it. And then you guys talked about just being broadcasters and killing the time. And Tony said, and, going and eating. And then he went and just sang the praises of Philadelphia's media food and the ice cream room with the sundaes and the ice cream and the salted caramel pretzel ice cream. And then you go, and I don't know how many times you've been to Philly, but it's got to be at least, double digits at this point. You go, I have never partaken even once in the ice cream in Philadelphia.
It's called discipline, Ben. Discipline.
How can you be that disciplined, Jesse, on the road, traveling as you? How do you do that?
Well, when you're on the road all the time, you have to have the mentality of this is not vacation. And so you can't have a vacation mentality. And yes, the ice cream in the Philly press box is like world renowned in media circles, which means, regionally renowned. And it kind of feels like a little bit of a gateway drug situation. Like if I have it once, I'm going to be like, oh, this is as good as everybody says it is. And then it's going to become a problem. And we don't want a problem, Ben.
To me, discipline is limiting yourself to just one per visit.
Yeah, but he goes to Philly and
it's like one per day is the discipline.
He goes to Philly and has the ice cream. Then he goes to Toronto and has their
poutine,
whatever it is, right? Like that's a slippery slope, Jesse. Good for you, and good for not succumbing to peer pressure. So, what a fun weekend that was in the city of brotherly love. I texted Jesse
for who?
Exactly, for no one actually, for the Phillies. Philly fans had a good time. How gnarly was that doubleheader day? Because that's the day I texted you. I texted you after.
We talked to Sammy yesterday. I mean, broadcasting nightmare. Day-night doubleheader followed by 3-hour rain delay, followed by 12-inning game.
Oh my God!
I'll just say this: imagine if they didn't have the pitch clock in.
Oh yeah, no, you're done. That's a night.
Which also caused a problem in the 12th inning of said game.
Sure
Jesse.
It sure did. Hadn't seen that one yet. No, I'm not going to call time because the guy's picking up a piece of trash and you're supposed to be in the box anyway. I hate it, Jesse. And I know there's another guy in Philly that hates it too, John Kruk. I wonder, do you ever get a chance to shoot the breeze with Krucky? Because I love him. And when I watch him call Phillies games, you've never heard someone that hates the pitch clock more than John Kruk. It's incredible. He cannot hide his disdain for what's going on in baseball these days.
He's definitely, sort of in the best way, the cranky old ball player. Like It's not in a bad way. It's like in a good way, which is it's a really hard needle to thread. But he's John Kruk and he's authentic and he somehow pulls it off. So basically, we had however many hours between the two games of the doubleheader on Saturday. He was in our booth for most of it.
Yes.
He and Tony's dad were extremely good friends. They came up through the minors together. They debuted around the same time with the Padres together. So they go way, way, way back. And Kruk has just the most deep and obvious admiration for Tony and therefore for his entire family. So he and Junior have known each other for a long time, obviously. But I mean, Kruk just posted up in our booth and told Tony Gwynn minor league stories, some of which Tony had never heard before, for an hour and a half. And I don't know that I said 4 words in those 90 minutes. Because I was just wide-eyed listening to all these stories. And look, that's also the era where I was growing up, as a kid, falling in love with baseball. It was John Kruk being ridiculous and turning his helmet around and, everything like that. So that's my wheelhouse, from my childhood memories of this sport. And just kind of kept thinking to myself, this is hilarious. I'm just sitting here with this guy He's telling great stories. He's being John Kruk. And that was one of those where you go, man, like this is really cool. You know, I say sometimes that one of the best parts about this job and getting to be around the people you are is like your childhood baseball cards get to come to life. And that's exactly what happened in between games of the doubleheader.
Now, Tony and John Kruk go back to like Walla Walla, Washington,
Yep.
which was the Padres like entry-level affiliate when they were first starting in pro ball, and they did become very good friends. They're talking to Jesse Agler, voice of the Padres here. Now, you haven't been to Toronto much, I've got to imagine, Jesse. This is not a usual road trip for the Padres, and doing the whole passport thing, crossing the borders. How is it going, and what are you looking forward to in this series?
Yeah, this is our the Padres' third ever trip to Toronto, and I've been a part of all of them. 2016 was the first time the Padres ever played here. Good trivia. That was the last ever interleague thing to happen. San Diego at Toronto was the only interleague series that had never occurred. The Blue Jays had been to San Diego, but the Padres had never been here. So we checked that off the list in 2016, came back in 2019, and now here we are again. I sing his praises regularly. TJ Lasita is in charge of all of our travel. He makes international transport as simple as it could possibly be. I don't understand how, but I mean, yeah, we obviously have our passports and, we go through customs and everything like that, but it couldn't be any smoother. It couldn't be any easier. That was the case when we went to Mexico City in April. That was the case when we got here late on Sunday night. So, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different than going to Pittsburgh, but not too much, which is incredible. They really make it as easy as possible for all of us. And in terms of the series, I'm excited. It's a cool city. It's a cool ballpark. They've redone it a little bit this year. I'm excited to check that out. And you got storylines up the wazoo, right? I mean, in terms of these two teams and the talent on the field and all the young talent and all the second generation major league talent. I'm interested to dive into the Manoah stuff as he makes his second start back from the minor leagues. Joe Musgrove making only his second ever start against the team that drafted him. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on that I'm excited about here this week.
Well, and Jesse Agler, they've got some players over there to watch too. They got some really, really fun players and some guys. And I said it this morning to kick off the show. If you don't watch a lot of Blue Jays baseball, and you're a Padres fan, you're going to come away probably loathing about 3 or 4 players on the Toronto Blue Jays. They kind of have that. Much like when the Padres go to play, in a city where nobody gets to see the Padres a lot. I'm sure that there are players on our team that rub fans the wrong way. And I think a lot of people feel that about the Blue Jays, but you cannot deny, man, the fun, the talent, the flair in which they do it with. There's some really good baseball players on both sides.
A lot of parallels. Springer is a little bit different, right? He comes in from Houston, so he carries some of that baggage with him. But yeah, in terms of like Vladdy and Bichette, those guys, you put them up there with, Fernando and whoever else in terms of like the fun they have playing the game, the energy they bring playing the game, the personality they bring to the game, in addition, obviously, to the otherworldly talent that they bring to the game. So yeah, if you like ball players 25 and under, this is the series for you. Just some electric young talent on the field, 2 good teams, 2 teams that are, kind of trying to figure some things out here in the month of July. Plus, I didn't even mention we get the added bonus, which is always a show, of Rougned Odor going to Toronto, because that is very much still a thing here.
Oh, that's a thing there.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't forget.
They have
not forgotten.
If I'm Jeff Fry, I avoid this series like the plague. This is like the death of Jeff Fry.
Especially after that look he gave the umpire on Sunday.
Rugi's not messing around.
No, he does not mess around. Talking to Jesse Agler. And Jesse, I want to get from you the sense, and I know this is always a tough thing for even a broadcaster to say. I know you're flying with them, but you're not necessarily talking to their, deep, dark emotions of how the Padres players feel right now.
As far as we know.
We talk to the fans, and I feel like I said this earlier. At this point, the fans are like, they're going to need a little more proving it now from the Padres before they are going to let themselves believe that this team is going to fall in love. I don't think it happens this week. Usually the fans, every game is so important and players take the long perspective. But right now, I've got to imagine the players are looking at this trade deadline going and saying, hey, we really have to get going immediately, or they're going to have to trade away guys. And I know they don't want that. So it's almost like these games are more important for the players right now than the fans are probably caring as much about this series in Toronto in particular.
You might be onto something. I think that's probably a decent guess as to the way it is. Now, look, when they get out on the field, they're not thinking about the trade deadline, obviously, right? Like they're thinking about the task at hand. But yeah, if you listen or read to what guys are saying, even publicly, to reporters, and seeing, the quotes and the stories, yeah, there is an element of urgency. They are being asked about the trade deadline. And these guys are not stupid. They understand their business very well. And I think they know the position that the team is in and that the roster is in. August 1st is going to be here real quick. And that's the trade deadline. So while it's impossible to predict AJ and his trade behavior and what direction this thing might go, I've been asked, as you can imagine, 1,000 times in the last week, are they going to buy or are they going to sell? Are they going to buy or are they going to sell?
I don't know over it. I don't know either.
Yeah, but I keep telling people I don't know that it's like a black and white one or the other thing. Like,
could be both.
There's plenty of gray area that exists there for AJ Preller to operate in if that's the direction that he deems the one to go in. But obviously these games are critical, not only from the trade deadline perspective, but from the perspective that, today is going to be game 95 and there are 6 games under 500. Is that right? It's getting late early in San Diego for the Padres. And, I think there's definitely a sense of urgency among the players in terms of the pregame mentality. But again, when you get out on the field and Alek Manoah is doing his thing out there, you can't be thinking about that kind of stuff. So it's definitely an interesting moment in time.
All right, Jesse, it is Tuesday. It's been a few weeks since we talked to you, but the Incorporator is back today. If you're at all new to this segment or the program, Jesse, for the past few seasons, has played the Incorporator on Tuesdays. We give him a crazy, weird vocabulary word that would have no business in a baseball broadcast, and then he works it into the game somewhere with Tony Gwynn Jr. Later that day, you'll be able to hear him at 4:07 today, San Diego time, with Joe Musgrove against Alek Manoah in the first game of this series. And I have no doubt you're going to get this one. I just thought it was a fun word. We're going to the world of beekeeping today for the Incorporator. Paulie, if you would please.
Slum gum.
Slum gum is today's Incorporator word,
Slum
Jesse.
gum.
It is the refuse from melted honeycombs after the wax has been rendered or removed, usually containing cocoons, pollen, bee bodies, and dirt. So, pretty much the leftover mess gum. When you're doing the honey and you melt the combs out, you're left with slum gum.
All right. By the way, on TV this series, so I'm sure Mud won't react at all to that word.
Slum gum, and you're doing it with Mud on TV? I didn't realize that.
Yes.
So who's with Tony on the radio then? We got Bob?
Scans. You can just text Bob slum gum and see what he says.
Slum gum.
Have we done that yet, where we try and get it in on both?
Oh, no, we haven't.
No, we haven't. That'd be great. Maybe we should text Bob and see if he can work.
Bob's done it before, hasn't he?
I think he has.
So
Why not?
He knows the bit.
You guys had him on a couple Fridays ago when I was out.
I wonder if we can do that. We can compare.
Yeah, and then I like that. I like that idea.
Rank the Incorporator. You said, I like that.
We'll have a competition as who incorporates better on the word slum gum. Today, well, good luck on TV. Good luck dealing with Mud. I know that is a handful.
He's probably going to show you YouTube videos incessantly. You know that. So have fun with that. Oh, Jesse, remember this movie? Remember this from the Blues Brothers? Yeah, I do, actually. I saw it. I don't need to see
Aretha Franklin.
Yeah. Here's remember this? Aretha Franklin? Yeah, I remember.
Hey, Ray Charles.
All right, Jesse.
Cap Calloway.
By this time next week, you will finally be home, and we'll talk to you then.
If you say so. It doesn't feel like it.
Thank you, buddy.
It's a long way to go still. Jesse Agler, voice of the Padres on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Sounds like the grind. The grind gets to the broadcasters too, very, very much. It definitely would. The players get to go out and play, get it all out. Broadcasters got to sit there and rot through a rain delay and delays and things like that.
When you talk about the dog days of summer, usually you're talking about kind of mid-August.
Yeah.
However, it also has to do with how well your team is playing.
100%.
And when they've been struggling, the dog days can hit a little earlier.
They've hit us all
on another season.
They have absolutely hit us all. There's no question about it. It's hit Padres fans. Just can't hit the players. That's the one group it
That's what
cannot
you're
hit.
watching
That's
for.
what you're watching for.
You're watching for that closely here.
100%.
Over these next weeks and games that the Padres are going to be playing.
What are you made of? What are you made of?
We need to get a hold of Bob now.
Are you slum gum?
Get some slum.
Or are you honeycomb?
Yeah.
What are you?
What?
Want to be honeycomb? Want to be
I
slum
don't want a
gum?
bunch of dead bees and cocoons in me.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
I just did it. I just incorporated it myself on the program.
All right. We will come back. We've got some phone calls if you want to join us again. 833-288-0973. Still have a Rhino report coming up. Lots to get to. It's Ben and Woods. Don't go away. Check traffic, and we'll be back with more on 97.3 The Fan. Good stuff from Jesse Agler. Thank you again for joining us. Padres and Blue Jays coming up later today here on 97.3 The Fan. Actually, it was probably one of the series I was looking forward to most all season long. I like the new schedule.
I like the new schedule.
I do. I like getting to see every
Yeah, it's been
team
super fun so far.
every season.
I've
Well,
really
it
enjoyed
hasn't worked out for the Padres.
It is
that
fun
well.
seeing these teams.
But it makes more sense to play every team in baseball. If you're going to do interleague play, then do it. Play every team, and you alternate years, so you're not going, as Jesse said. Padres they started interleague play in around 2000, early 2000s, and the Padres had never gone to Toronto until 2016. How does that make any sense at all?
I know.
Now they'll go every other year, just like they will to every American League ballpark. It makes more sense. If you're going to do it, do it. Play interleague baseball. Let's see these teams. Let's see Shohei Ohtani. Let's see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He'll be coming to Petco Park next season with these guys, and you'll have a chance to see him in person. I like the new schedule. So I just wish the Padres were faring better on the new schedule.
As do I. You've had the opportunity to beat up on some of those teams that you don't get to see a lot, and you haven't done it yet.
No,
the
haven't
Royals,
had your A's series yet, unfortunately. Maybe that would have helped out.
The A's may take 2 or 3 from this team right now. The Detroit series, obviously the series here is huge. You don't want to look too far ahead, but man, the Detroit series, you can't afford anything. You just right now, the margin for error, you've made it razor thin. There is just no room for error at all. There's no room for sloppy defense. There's no room for a guy trying to take an extra bag. There's no room for you getting thrown out stealing. There's no room for you not getting a bunt down or whatever it is. You've got to basically play perfect baseball, Ben, to try to salvage this thing. I was looking this morning, and I was surprised at the playoff odds. Did you see the playoff odds for the Padres? There's still, you look at it and you're like 38% or something. You're like,
oh, it can't be that high, really.
Hang on one second. I'll pull it up right now. Padres.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I was thinking we need
37.9.
Wow. But according to who? That's today?
Look,
right now?
Say it again.
37.9. Is that right?
I was
picture, playoffstatus.com.
It's even higher, I think, than it was a week ago.
I was thinking
Padres.
You need the reverse of the Rachel Phelps in Major League.
Oh, wow. No, that's not.
You know how they pulled off a piece for every win?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Padres can afford only 25 more losses this season.
Oh, God.
What do you got?
Oh, no.
25 losses would get them to 87 wins.
Fangraphs, 25%. 25%.
1-4.
1-4.
Not
terrible.
I mean, it's not winning Powerball.
No.
You're buying people buy Powerball tickets and think they can win. It's not 1-4.
We bought a bunch of them.
Would you buy a Padres playoff lottery ticket? 25%.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. So yes, 100%. I have no problem gambling. Yeah. What do you want? Does this team make? They have a 25% chance to make the playoffs as of today, according to Fangraphs. Do they?
Feels lower than that.
That's the current team. That's not obviously
improvements or subtractions, whatever.
Now the projection systems have overestimated the Padres all season long, and I imagine they're continuing to do so.
You're telling me, as someone who's placed any wager on the San Diego Padres this year, they owe me a Cadillac.
So I was thinking we need the reverse of the Rachel Phelps from Major League. You can only afford 25 more losses. Have us fully clothed.
Nude.
Every time there's a loss, you pull one off. You don't want to see that.
So
you try to avoid pulling off the pieces of the clothing each loss.
Let's start with you nude. Okay, number one.
You clothe them with
Ben and a
win.
banana.
I'm gonna win. Please, God, win these games so I can clothe Ben. Reverse strip poker. You put more clothes
Put it
on.
right behind Ben, just staring you right in the
Just
face.
nude Ben right behind. Would you do it?
Oh, yeah. If I knew that they'd make the playoffs at the end of the year, I'd do it for the playoffs.
There's no question. We need a playoff run. Man, I don't know. It's it's one game at a time. I get it. Go out and beat Alek Manoah. Alek Manoah. I was going to say
Alek
Alex.
with a K.
Alek with a K. And go out and beat him tonight, and let's see what happens.
I'm so with you, and I hate myself for
Yeah,
it.
because you
It
still
makes me
believe,
feel like
don't
such
you?
a sucker.
You feel
I'm
like an
I
idiot.
refuse to
bro.
accept that this team and these guys are this bad.
Mm-hmm. No, I've I've been way more sold on Padres teams that weren't near this talented. Of course, I'm going to ride with
Freddie
this
Galvis
one.
has a good year.
I'm telling you, Travis Jankowski is showing me something out in center. I have been way more sold on teams with infinitely less talent. I'm riding this thing till the wheels fall off. I mean, I'm going to ride it as hard as I can. I've driven cars before. I've had many cars in my life where it was like, I maybe have 7 miles left on this thing. I'm going to ride this thing until the literal wheels fall off, and they have a couple of times. So I do believe, I still believe I'm going to be. And like tonight, I'm ecstatic for the game. We're doing a live stream tonight with some of our YouTube members. I can't wait. I can't wait till first pitch. I want to see these guys play. I still enjoy watching them play. Now there is a small part of me. I cannot deny it. When I first moved here and the Chargers were in there every year, kind of expected to do something, it was fascinating to watch them as an outsider and say, I can't believe they blew it like that. There is some of that going on with the San Diego Padres. And it's a bad feeling to go into the 6th inning and go, how are we going to mess this up? I'm interested to see. And I can't deny that there's not some of that seeping in.
It'll be creative.
Yeah, absolutely.
And agonizing. And, it's like
the other day,
Nostradamus, I texted you guys on Saturday after the game 2 loss. I said, God, this is just going to make tomorrow's gut-wrenching loss even worse. What happened?
People love those Saw movies.
They do.
This is it's like the baseball version of watching
Saw, just on repeat.
What, torture device are they going to come up
not that
with
different
today?
Saw. A different Saw. Yeah, a relevant Saw.
Missed that one.
Yeah,
my bad.
A relevant one. I mean, the Gary Sanchez play when he slips, falls on his ass, throws down to Manny, makes the tag. The guy slides late into Manny. Manny makes the tag. I'm like, that's it. That's the play. That's going to turn this. I'm screaming.
My first thought was, here comes the overturn on replay.
yeah.
When I saw Toddy hobbling his ass up there and getting a 2-run knock.
When I saw Rob Thompson give the keep going, I was like, yeah, the play that did it. You know what? Legitimately, one of the highlights of the year. That play was wet ground, falling backward. Bam, gets the guy at third. Incredible.
Haters up there against Harper. And we talked about this yesterday. Should you have walked him? What to me, that felt like a moment that could have been that moment as well.
100%.
Haters going to strike out Harper here. It's going to exercise demons. It's going to be a huge moment for this team. I keep thinking
that was Ali Frazier right there, man. And we all know the result of that. But no, they've baited me. They've hooked me so many times this year, and I keep going back, man. Keep going back.
All right, let's take a time out. We'll come back. If you want to join us, 833-288-0973. I also have a dog dilemma for the pet owners out there. Need your advice.
Brother. You got both of you guys.
Holy crap.
Both got dog stories and dilemmas coming up. So we'll get to that, kind of our reset at 8, but we had Jesse on at 8. That is next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed here on 97.3 The Fan. You can see what you missed, click to listen on demand, and go back to a guest, a feature, or anything else that happened earlier. Just download the free Odyssey app, search 97.3 The Fan, and tap earlier today to get started. All right, 833-288-0973 if you want to join us. I said I have a dog dilemma. Nothing makes you feel worse when you think that your dog is
near the end.
Well, not just that, but when it looks at you and they're sad about something, but I'm not sure if that's real or not.
Yes.
Am I imagining it, or are they really like disappointed in you?
He's not disappointed in you. He's just disappointed because he's old.
Well, I'll tell you what happened yesterday, and you can tell me if I'm crazy. Coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Well, some double trouble for you coming out of the East County. Westbound 84 Los Coaches. Crash involving a car and a motorcycle. It's in the center divide. Then up ahead before Greenfield, an accident has been cleared into the center divide. Traveling on the North 5 coastline just before Cannon, we have reports of what looks like some rolls of carpeting in the 3 left lanes. I'm Kelly Tannick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So our older dog is named Reggie, after Reggie Bush, named by my son Jack, right after the Saints won the Super Bowl with Reggie Bush. So you can tell he's pretty old.
Pretty old.
That happened a long time ago. I think he's 13 now. And he's still doing all right.
He's 13?
Yeah. So I take him and, our 7-year-old on walks every single day. And it's been hot lately, we go to the dog park. It's a, off leash park, and they can do what they want to throw the tennis ball around, and they've always enjoyed it. It's part of their routine, but lately it's just, you can tell it's getting harder for him. He moves so slowly. I mean, we're walking at a snail's pace. She, of course, the younger dog, she wants to go, and she's like, let's go. So I've got one arm like yanking in front of me, the other yanking way behind me. I'm trying to keep them on a similar pace. And I get
you don't want to drag one.
No,
you don't want to choke the other one.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm starting to think, well, maybe I just leave old Reg at home because does he really want to be out here anymore doing this long walk? But every time it's time for the walk, they know it because I walk in the door and I grab my dog walking floppy hat,
right? The woman repeller,
and they get so excited. They come right to the door, tails wagging like he wants to go. And I tried just taking the younger one and leaving Reggie, and he looked at me like, and I don't know, to me, it looked like the eyes were the saddest eyes I've ever seen. Like, you're not going to just leave me here. Am I imagining that as just an empathetic dog owner, or are they really like, you can't do this to me?
No, he wants to go.
He wants to go, and he would be so sad if I didn't take him.
Correct.
Right?
And you don't have time to do.
It's turning a 25-minute walk into a 45-minute walk because he's so slow the whole time. But she needs her exercise. She needs to get all the way to the dog park, run around, chase around with other dogs so I can tire her out for the rest of the day. But I don't have time to do 2 different walks, like a 30-minute walk with her and then a 20-minute walk with him on separate leashes during the day. So I'm kind of in a bind here.
You have 2 able-bodied sons.
Yeah. Jack did say I should take Reggie on a shorter walk. He's still going to want to come with us, though.
Do your children, one's
18 and 20.
18, 20. Do they pay you rent?
No.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Now they do. They walk dogs. It's such a no-brainer.
Chores.
By the way,
unpaid labor.
You don't have to do. This gets you out of everything. Why? I make Bo drag the cans out to the curb with me. He's 5, and I'm like, get your ass out. We got work to do. We got chores to do. I would say, hey, rent's free, but you're walking the dogs. I don't care if you have to spend all afternoon walking the dogs. You got Reg, you got Chelan. Walk them up and down the block. Make it happen. They do like to go together, though, the dogs, which is the problem.
That has been part of the problem
and that's part of the problem.
They don't want to be separated.
And if
they
you
see one going now, if he'll do it the exact same moment, like if we start together and then split up, I think I could get away with that.
Right.
But then I got to coordinate schedules and everything's got to happen at exactly the right moment.
Pass the buck. Pass the buck.
It's easier said than done. You don't have teenagers.
I have a 5-year-old.
The cajoling necessary to get something to actually happen is harder than just doing it yourself sometimes.
I'm going to charge you both $500 rent. In lieu of said rent, you walk the dogs 7 days a week. Here is the hammer. I'm dropping it on you. Jack's right now listening, going, "You SOBs, shut your mouth." No, I mean you got to. I can't wait till
You're
my
tougher dad than me.
I
That's
can't
for sure.
wait
I'm a
till my
pushover.
I can't
I've
wait till
always
my
been a
kids
pushover.
are older.
I'm definitely.
They don't know the meaning of the word pain. As Bo's out lifting wheelbarrows full of rocks for no reason. No, I mean it's just he's like, move this pile of rocks to the other side of the yard and then
move
back.
it back.
Oh, dude, it's so funny. Is it weird as a dad that I'm looking forward to that? Does it make me a bit sadistic?
A
little bit. But you know, I want them to. You got to help. Everyone's got to do their part. That's my whole thing. It's a team. We all got to do our part. I would make the kids do it. Now, if the kids refuse, go other option. Say goodbye to old Reg.
How do you make that decision either?
It's
I mean,
one of the hardest.
I'm just like, we go to the checkup at the vet every year, and I'm just is she just going to say, all right, it's time?
No, they never will.
Will they not? You have to actually
because
say
they're
it?
going to say, for $4,700, we can keep him very comfortable. And you're like, if I say no, I'm a literal monster. If I say yes, I'm out.
Is that how that works? I've never really had a dog this to the end like this.
100%.
That's how it works at the end.
It's not great, but for again, $4,700 and put you on care credit, a couple hundred a month, and we can make that happen for you, Ben, and he'll be fine. You give him 7 of these pills 6 times a day, 14 of these, and he should be okay.
Can't I just take him somewhere and then they'll say we took him out to the farm? No, someone will say, yeah, he's living out at a farm and he's very happy, and I'll never know otherwise. Like you tell your kids.
You would know.
Camille says, yeah, Woods, wait until you have teenagers. I hear that all the time. I will drag him out by his ear. Like, get your ass out and take out the garbage. You freeloaders. I do not do freeloading at all.
The kids are always more afraid of mom than dad. Oh, yeah.
Not in my house.
Really?
Oh, dude, come on. Are you kidding? Come on.
We have different houses.
We do have different houses. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Oh, what about you and your dog?
Hannah says euthanasia because, you spend enough time around Hannah. When the slightest thing goes wrong, she's like, it's fine. Just whack him out. It's cool. It's no big deal. But babe, I think it's just a cough.
She says that about
Hannah,
you.
I'll make the call.
Wrong as well.
Just make the call.
No, we got Jackson. He's
100
years
17,
old. 18. We don't really know. You said Reggie was named after the Saints won the Super Bowl in 2010. Was that?
Yeah, I think 2010. Yeah.
Okay, Jackson. Megan got him.
He's named after Stonewall Jackson.
He was named after Jackson, Mississippi, because that's
Stonewall.
That's Jackson, Mississippi, is where he was rescued from Hurricane Katrina.
Oh,
so
that
I've
was a
got you
while
beat
ago.
by a few years.
Yeah, that was even before that.
And he's it's actually weird. He's like Benjamin Buttoning. He's getting more lively and more energetic, but he ate something bad. We had like the 36-hour stomach bug.
When I see
in my
pictures
house.
of Jackson, I can smell his breath. Does that make sense?
Just
I can smell it. I see it in I saw a picture of you holding him over the weekend. I went, I can smell that picture. I can smell it. I know what it sounds like. I had an old dog.
I don't like getting him too excited because then he starts panting. And
Yeah.
it's just a cloud of stink just everywhere. I love that little bastard so much. But dude, Sunday night, didn't really sleep much. He sleeps on the floor near our bed, and we have hardwood floors, and he gets up and you just hear the tap. It's just, he just taps around.
Drives you crazy.
On the hardwood.
Drives you
And you're like, what do you want? What do you want? We don't know if he wants to go outside, if he needs water. He's blind. He can't find the water bowl. But this has been.
Do their nails grow
he's had the
faster
poop.
when they get older?
I think they do.
We've got to like trim
We
Reggie's
clip
nails
his
like
nails, like,
3
once a week.
times more often than the other dogs as well. Like those videos where the old people with the really long fingernails, dogs get that way too.
Just it's time. Just make the call.
It's not my call to make. He's fine. He's just got a stomach bug. And it's just
Reggie's fine too. He's fine.
It's been.
All right.
Just old.
It was horrendous.
Is that how we're all going to be?
Yours is the easiest solution. Again, 2 teenagers. I'd be like, get your asses out and go walk those dogs. I want, you know how DoorDash, they take a picture of the food?
Mm-hmm.
Send
On
me
your
a
doorstep?
picture. Yeah, send me a picture of you walking the dog.
I need
Don't tell me
selfies.
you walk the dog. I want to see a picture of you holding up a Union Tribune.
Yeah, 'cause
Dog walk
you can
done.
say you walk the dog. Who's going to
100%.
refute it?
Bo, did
Can I ask
you brush your teeth? Yeah, you can check my toothbrush that's wet. buddy. Come on, pal. I want to. Let me smell your breath. I mean, they're the kid.
If I ask the dogs, will they say yes?
say
I
yes?
was walked today or not?
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you. Yours is easy, Paulie. Yours is tougher.
I don't know if we have people who want to chime in on this or not.
Probably want to talk Padres. I would imagine.
You think they want to talk Padres?
They've been on hold for a while.
All right, let's go to Tim in Oceanside. Tim, welcome to Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Hey,
How's
buddy.
the dog days of summer?
Yeah,
Yes,
literally dog days.
Hey, I'm going to talk Padres, but I got a quick one for Ben. Have you noticed the strollers that people have dogs in now?
Oh,
yes,
You can
please.
You can put
I'm
Jack.
begging you.
You can
He's
put
not a
Reggie
little
in the
dog.
stroller,
He's big.
rolling to the dog park. Keep up your pace, and then let him run
He's
around.
like
in the park.
82
He's
pounds.
80 pounds.
All right. If any tier ones out there have a dog stroller that will fit an 82-pound dog,
I mean, there's
we're
not
gonna need to
people
borrow it for
strollers
a
that would
week.
fit an 82
I just
pound
need
dog.
Ben pushing that
I
thing.
need a shopping cart.
We have that wagon that my wife's
A wagon, yeah.
The God knows on what. She won't even tell me because she knows I'll flip out. But yeah, you can put them in a wagon, drag. That's fun. Dragging one and the other one's dragging
Pulling the
you,
other
pulling
way.
the other one.
Maybe I can tie the leash of the one to the wagon and have one pull the other one. Tim, you wanted to talk some Padres as well?
Yeah, I did. Hey, I got a question. So, Bob Melvin, supposed to be the king of analytics. What is he doing pitching to Bryce Harper in the bottom of the 10th in extra innings?
I think
He is
got
not.
to.
First of all, he's not
not
supposedly the king of analytics. I think he's certainly open to that information, but he's not. I mean, he's not a guy who's I think obsessed with every minute detail of what the numbers say.
Because that was I saw a little bit of that going around, Bob, and I'm not telling you you're wrong. The hindsight being 2020, yeah, fantastic. We all have that luxury. I never ever putting the winning run on base, and Bryce Harper would have been the winning run. Runs pretty well. If JT Real Muto comes up and hits a double, and Bryce Harper scores the winning run, we're incensed. Everyone's why wouldn't you go lefty? I know Bryce Harper kills the Padres. I know that, but at some point you're gonna have to get the dude out, and I don't like giving them a free.
Well,
I don't like give them a free bag.
And I think it's a misconception that analytics always gives a clear-cut answer to a problem. Well, what would the analytics say? Sometimes the analytics say two different things at once, because in this case, I'm sure there were some analytics that say, yeah, Bryce Harper, better hitter than JT Real Muto, and he's been clutch, and the numbers would say let's avoid him. The other analytics say, hey, you get a lefty-lefty matchup, and you're putting the winning run on, that multiplies the chance of losing the game on a double by this factor. So the smart decision would be to pitch to Bryce Harper.
Right.
The analytics don't always give you the clear-cut answer that you would expect from quote-unquote math. It's not as black and white as maybe we imagine it to be.
And that feels to me like that's kind of a feel thing for a manager. And obviously, Bob, in hindsight, made the wrong decision because it didn't work out. That being said, I always do the what if. What if he walks Bryce Harper? And what if JT Real Muto, who, by the way, is in the lineup to protect Bryce Harper from exactly that? JT rips a double. Bryce Harper runs pretty well still. I know he's banged up in other aspects of his body, but he runs very well still. Bryce scores the winning run, and we're like, oh, cool. Thanks for the free bag. And
now, in hindsight, JT popped out to left.
Yeah.
You don't know that that's what would have happened had Bryce Harper walked instead of tied the game. Different pitches, different situation, but it's much easier in hindsight.
I'll take my chances.
By the way,
I'll take my
Padres
chances.
didn't lose the game that inning. They had two more innings after that to go ahead and still try to win the game. Sometimes not losing the game is important because other than the Padres, teams do go on and actually win ball games in extra innings, even when they give up a run.
Yeah.
Padres never do, but other teams sometimes do. So living to fight another day, and maybe that means giving up a single to Harper, might be better than the alternative of giving up the winning double to JT Real Muto. I don't know what the right answer is. You could have a literal computer sitting there in the dugout, and it might be spitting steam, in a situation like that. Or in the 12th inning, like, do we pitch to Kyle Schwarber here, or do we walk him?
Right.
But that sets up Trey Turner, who's very hard to double up. So do we walk him? Well, that loads the bases for Bryce Harper, but there's now a force at every base.
Right.
The computer
It's a
would probably
nightmare.
just be spitting out smoke at that point, because analytics don't always deliver you the clear-cut answer that you might expect them to.
Yeah, I just, again, hindsight looking back, saying, oh, obviously that was the wrong move. I had zero problem with that move. Zero. That was the matchup we were all clamoring for last year. It was a heavyweight bout. Their guy won. get him next time. If you're Josh Hader wants another shot at Bryce Harper. And, listen, I'm not going to give them the winning run. I'm not just going to hand it to them and put them on base. I'm just not going to.
But I think there will always be feel in the dugout from a manager.
Now, you got to have it. You can't.
I don't want a manager who manages off the seat of their pants and there's just no consistency, just whatever his gut is telling him at every given moment. And that's how they're managing the entire season. I think that would be bad. If you're not at least looking at some numbers and making educated decisions based on some analytical input that your people in the front office are telling you, you're missing out on an incredible opportunity to take advantage of that. But you're never going to take completely the feel out of the game. That's why I like Bob Melvin so much as a manager. He's not a stick in the mud, old school guy who, in one ear, out one ear for the analytics.
Yeah.
But he's not a programmed robot who just does what the front office tells him in every situation.
Joe Girardi.
Here's what the book says. We're doing it exactly by the book every single time.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I want a manager who can walk both worlds, straddle it right there. And that's why I've liked Bob Melvin from the beginning. I feel like he's the right guy. Is it working out this year for him? No. But I want him to be manager of the Padres next year.
As do I.
I'd be more worried about Bob not wanting to come back right now than I am Padres should fire Bob and get rid of him.
100%.
Padres need to make sure Bob is happy and wants to come back next season.
Getting some pieces in the bullpen.
All right, Rindle Report. We got some good headlines coming up, stories that we have missed. You're going to like some of these next. With Ben Woods on 97 through the Fan. Our contract is coming up here at 97.3 The Fan.
It is.
And end of the year.
End of the year.
You think they can place the franchise tag on us?
Oh, dude. like 1 year on an average of what everybody makes?
I don't want to say I feel sorry for an NFL player who's making millions of dollars, but
I do.
Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and Tony Pollard.
I read this story.
Feel like they got raw deals to me,
bro, and especially for that position. You want to talk about
especially
at running back. I mean, you want to talk about a position, and they even said it. I read this article yesterday in where
the Athletic
about
You're not on Twitter
how those three guys were talking about getting tagged. I think they're 10 million.
Yeah, it's a 10 million is the number for 1 year for running back, to be one of the five, like the average of the five best paid running backs equals 10 million, which is, it's $10 million. But I'm seeing free agent contracts for linemen and outside linebackers, and they're getting 22 million a year. And now I'm a running back and I have no choice other than to play on my franchise tag or not play
pretty much
at 10 million. And then I've got nothing guaranteed after that year is over, that contract. It's quite frankly, it's not fair to those guys. It's not fair.
I couldn't agree more. And there's somebody driving to work right now to do a difficult job and they're rolling their eyes. I get it. But in the context of the NFL, where your career expectancy is so short, the punishment that a running back endures, I can't even fathom what it would be like to be a running back. And now if you're a kid coming up, you're 12, 13 years old, and they're like, go play running back. No chance. Make me a tight end, make me a wide receiver, make me a DB. I'm not playing running back. Why? Because the best I can do, being at one of the best in my position, is $10 million.
Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be running backs.
100%.
Especially Cowboys running backs, because Tony Pollard is the only one who actually signed his deal. He's going to play for the $10 million. But the other two, Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs, they haven't signed, and they're not expected to report to training camp. Because they're not signed, then they won't be fined for not reporting. But, I mean, eventually you kind of have to suck it up and go, because you'll never get to free agency. You'll never get to play unless you do play under the deal. It's just a tough situation for those running backs. And, yeah, it's not an enviable position anymore in the National Football League. It used to be the star. Everyone wanted to be the running back, wanted to be Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, LT. And now, honestly, it seems to me like if you're going to let your kids play football, and I know fewer and fewer parents are actually allowing football, really don't send them down the course of being a running back.
I saw somebody tweet out, and it was like a media person. I can't remember who it was. They said, I've been saying this for years. This is how you do it. You draft a running back. You tag them once in their career, and then you draft another running back. And one of the guys responded to it, quote tweeted, it was like, this is the problem. I mean, this is somebody in the media basically telling you, they're undervaluing what we bring to the table.
The players union always relents and leaves that franchise tag in. They need to stand up in the next one, and it's got to go. I think if I'm in players union, for the running back's sake, franchise tagging just has to go away. They have to figure out a way that's not a thing anymore. Once you've served your contract, you get to be a free agent and at least go in the open market where people can compete for your services.
Correct. Yeah, it's tough. I read that same article yesterday, and I honestly, Ben, if you put a gun to my head and said, hey, what's the tag on a running back? I would have said, I don't know, 20 million at least.
Yeah, no,
10.
And more running backs, they don't even make it to their 30s in the league.
Yeah.
Take a wide receiver. DeAndre Hopkins agrees. I mean, wasn't a huge deal, 2 years with the Titans, but I mean, he's in his 30s now, and you'll see wide receivers continue to produce now, longer. They just take less of a beating. Let's be honest. On 3/4 of the plays, they go out, run a little route. Probably no one touches it most of the time. Maybe one little check at the line, and that's it. Running back, you're getting 20, 25 touches in every single touch.
You're blocking.
Maybe you break one off or run out of bounds on a couple of them, but for the most of them, you are getting absolutely just destroyed by the defense every time you touch the ball.
I know. It's such an unsexy position it's turned into, but one that if you don't have a good one, you're absolutely up the creek. I mean, you can't not have a good running game and win in the NFL. It's hard. It's really hard to do. So I don't know, man. I saw that yesterday, and I meant to bring that up today too. So I'm glad you did.
All right. So the MLB trading deadline is coming up, and perhaps the most key figure of every MLB trade deadline is hurt. Paulie's got it in the Rondo Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
So who's the biggest figure at every single Major League Baseball trade deadline
There's
every July?
so many storylines to follow this
Is it a
season. Are the
GM?
Padres buyers or sellers? What are the Mets going
Is
to
it
do?
AJ
Where will
Preller?
Shohei Ohtani go? You know who's going to have all the answers to that?
Always.
It's Jeff Passan.
Of course. He's
We
the
had a-
guy.
We had a Passan bomb yesterday at just past 11 a.m. Jeff Passan tweeted, "Breaking, my back."
My back. What a great. I mean, I feel bad for him, but what a great tweet.
I love Jeff Passan.
He is.
Have you guys seen
fearless.
him doing
The
all
video,
the trivia?
yes,
he's
with
amazing.
John Boy.
They'll pop up someone's like baseball reference page.
Yeah, just
no
scroll
name,
through it.
just
He's like,
just
okay,
their stats.
started
and the
with
years
the
and which
Angels,
teams,
played
yeah.
1 year with the Mariners, then went to Kansas City.
Oh,
That's
that's Chris Carpenter.
You can't be. You can't.
What?
You cannot stump him on those.
He's incredible.
Unbelievable. So he tweeted yesterday, "Breaking, my back," and there was a notes screenshot. Jeff Passan wrote, "Sorry I haven't been posting lately. During cleanup after a big storm in Kansas City," that's where he lives, "a large tree limb decided to fall and crush me. The good news, I still have use of my arms, legs, and Twitter fingers. The bad news, I have a broken back.
Good Lord.
The vertebrae fracture will heal. I will be better. I'm hoping the pain subsides between now and the trade deadline, though painkiller-fueled tweets could be a fun time. To my incredible family, friends, and everyone at ESPN who have been so supportive, thank you. For the nurses, doctors, and support staff at KU Med, I so appreciate your care and diligence. And to those who are so vital to helping me deliver news this time of year especially, my back may be shot, but my phone still works."
Okay, so don't expect no days off, I guess, for Jeff Pass.
Has he consulted with anyone else who may have gone through what he is experiencing right now? And
Were you really sick this week?
No.
What was the
I
problem?
broke my back.
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that? You
My
broke
back is broken.
what? A vertebrae or
No.
what portion?
Spinal.
Did a tree limb fall on
Like
you,
your
Mike?
beloved Marie
Spinal.
Cornell. Remember that?
No, that was
Oh, God,
that was
horrific.
life-threatening. Absolutely.
Life-threatening.
It does happen, especially
must-
storm damage. You got to be
Dude.
careful.
I must say, Ben, I don't know if any of your bosses are listening. Every time there is a storm here in San Diego and I see Marie out there doing storm watch, I'm
Yes.
like, can we please get this woman back in a studio?
Yes.
For the love
100%.
of God.
Send him.
Yeah, send this guy.
Get my big brain yellow slicker on.
He's
and
got the slicker.
head on out.
He's
Put
ready
your
to go.
rubbers on, and
Cover
you're good to go.
What are
Storm
we
Watch
doing here?
I'm Ben
2023.
Higgins.
That's the easiest call ever.
100%.
By the way, speaking of,
Well, he's
did,
lost all that weight.
did you see the
Paulie.
tarp in Cincinnati
I did.
yesterday?
Yeah, I got
swallowed a
Oh,
guy.
my underneath.
Drew fell and
Bro,
got
that's a nightmare.
swallowed under the
One of my
tarp.
biggest fears in the
He had to
world.
crawl out from under the
One of my biggest fears in the world is falling into a pool with one of the covers on
Oh, yeah.
it, like in
Oh, yeah.
Lethal Weapon, and you're and you can't get it.
I think there's
It's
air
hard.
under there, but
Maybe for a
he
limited
had to
time.
crawl like a cat under a sheet.
Bro, they just kept running, and he's like,
Help! You
I'm
can't.
here.
I mean, everyone's going like full speed, and they're not close to each other. Remember, the guy on the right's like out in left field. The guy on
Yes.
the left is beyond the first base
Oh,
line.
yeah,
so a guy in the middle falls. They've got no idea. They're still sprinting.
They're jamming.
So they're not. You can't stop this train once it's left the station.
You got it. There's with all the advancements in technology, there has to be an easier way than 40 humans dragging a 70,000-pound tarp on wet ground and wet dirt to cover it.
And then it started, but the wind started blowing, and they were like yanking it down like it was going to get carried away, like Dorothy's house and the Wizard of Oz.
Awful, dude.
Tough day for the equipment people in Cincinnati. There was also the guy who had to stitch the name Encarnacion Strand onto a jersey.
Did they do the whole thing?
I think he's just doing Encarnacion. So they called up their prospect, Christian Encarnacion Strand, who has taken the mantle from William Van Landingham and Jared Saltalamacchia, the newest, longest name in Major League Baseball history. Christian Encarnacion Strand.
It's banana. Like, imagine when you were a kid having to spell Saltalamacchia when you were 5, when you're Bo's age. She's like, never mind. I'm Jared S. Call me Salty.
How do you spell your name? ENCARNACION-STRAND.
Yeah, so they just went with the one, because I remember watching Saltalamacchia play, and it started at his left hip and went all the way around to his right hip, and you're like, holy smokes.
All right, let's keep it in Major League Baseball. Jason Stark, very knowledgeable insider.
Love Jason Stark.
He's up there on the Mount Rushmore along with Jeff Passan.
Love his wacky numbers that he always brings.
Greatest. He had quite a nugget yesterday. Said that there could be a Legends home run derby as soon as next year at the All-Star game.
All in.
And this is from MLB on Fox. These 4 former greats have already expressed interest. There's a graphic with Ken Griffey Jr., Albert Pujols, David Ortiz, and Jim Tomei.
So sick.
I would be like, sign me up right now.
I am skeptical. Can they still hit home runs? Like real home. I don't want them to create like some little league fence midway through the outfield.
Bombs. All of them.
They can still go into batting practice and put on a show. Because if it's like 7-4 as your home run winner, that's kind of sad. You got to be
guys on the senior tour still ripping the ball 330 yards.
Bernhard Longer just won the U.S. Senior Open at age 66.
66, right? Can still play. You're telling me, out of those 4, who do you take? Paulie's going to take Griffey because that's sentimental pick. I'm going to give me a
sentimental pick.
Give me Albert to his career.
Give me Albert.
I think Albert.
That's the
Big
smart.
Poppy.
Big Poppy will be he'll be the most fun. He'll
How
keep
long's
it.
Jim Tomey been
He's
out
got
of the
the
game?
bullet wound too.
He'll be giving they'll give the business to each other. That part will be fun.
Be a
obviously.
blast. I can't wait for this.
The chatter, the banter will be good.
Well, you know where it stemmed from, Stark said, was because all the legends are kind of hanging around watching. I can do that. I can still do that.
Well, they're all involved in the game.
Yeah,
still,
and
very
I think
much.
and I think somebody said, "Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's stop
Vlad
talking
Guerrero
about it."
Sr. one of them? Because he was down there and
he would be
with his son when they were doing the home run derby. He looked like he could do it
Now,
still too.
Griffey might be your best bet for the money because he's got to be the oldest, right? Out of those 4, like he's been retired
I
much
think
longer
he's
than
been
any of those
retired the
three.
longest.
So
he still looks like he could hit it though, man.
He kind of wrote the book on the home run derby.
Yeah.
But he's the oldest, so you might get long odds with him. But Albert Pujols he hit like 20 bombs last year. Didn't he?
None of them have to worry about messing up their swing for the second half.
You
of
can
the
just
season
let it
or
rip.
anything
Now
like
you
that.
do, if as somebody that's getting older, you have to worry about ripping the spine from your body on a swing. I mean, that's something that you have to fear when you get older. It just doesn't work the same. I wonder if they
don't want moved in fences.
No,
I don't want softballs.
I was
you give
gonna
them metal
say,
bats.
No, you should kill somebody. Albert Pujols would kill someone still with a metal bat. But I'm in on this. I mean, they made the point, like, I think our buddy Craig Calcaterra in his newsletter this morning was like, look, no offense to Adam Jones, who's going to be here tomorrow, but nobody cares about celebrity softball game. Do this instead. I said, all right, I'm on board with that. I think it'd be so fun.
Better than celebrity softball.
Yeah, for sure.
Done. All right. And then a little sportsy for a third Rinder Report story, but you can see Wiz Khalifa throw out the first pitch for the Pirates yesterday.
I didn't see the first pitch. I saw what he said about going to throw out the first pitch.
It's incredible. Wiz Khalifa, rapper, hip hop artist. He was throwing out the first pitch last night in Pittsburgh. Saw him out there rocking the jersey. He was waving for a very long time.
Seemed like he waved for about 12 minutes.
Didn't seem like he knew where he was at.
No, he
And,
knew. He was taking it all in.
So why was he out there for so long? Well, it could have been, I don't know, maybe related to a tweet that he sent prior to going out there for the first pitch. Wiz Khalifa tweeted, "Finna get stoned AF and throw this first pitch at the Pirates game." He followed that with, shroomed out, throwing a baseball is crazy.
Shroomed out.
My man was feeling real good when he went out there. And he got the ball across the plate.
Which is crazy because there are some stone cold sober throwers who don't even come close.
No question
40
about
feet
it.
left or something.
Yeah, he waved. He just stood there and was smiling, just happy, waving.
Somewhere Doc Ellis was smiling.
By the way, are we going to address that Snoop Dogg is in every commercial now? Like every commercial I see on television.
When you watch a Padres game?
Yeah, Petco, Jack in the Box.
He's America's sweetheart.
There's a couple other ones. I don't mind it. I actually like it. I mean, he's good.
I'd like a little more variety.
I love that one where he's the dog. He's the Doberman. Like, money. What's that?
Do you like?
Good.
I like the one. I think they don't think they do it anymore. But they says when the guy says, "My name's Mitch," and he says, "What's up, Miach?" It kills me.
That's what my grandma calls me.
Bo running around the house, Miach. What's up, Miach?
Oh, they're all good commercials.
Genius.
We need to do a Ben Woods commercial.
You guys can speak to it so much better than I can. I was an infant when Snoop Dogg was coming up, but if you went back to 1994 or whatever, there's no way you would think that's going to be America's sweetheart.
He's going to be in every mainstream,
no question.
Commercial. Corporations are going to jump in bed with him. He's going to have a television show with Martha Stewart.
Anytime a game show host retires, his name will be in there.
Yeah, it's a guy.
Yeah,
that's the guy.
Success story.
The friendship between him and Martha Stewart is one of my favorite things. As random as that could possibly.
And then, of course, there's the Corona ads where he's on the beach. I mean, every product, and then they're even making fun of crossing the commercials where Jack steals them from the Corona commercial and takes them to the Jack in the Box commercial, and then a Petco commercial comes on, and it's all Snoop all the time.
I'm fine with it.
And again, I am okay with that. All right, let's see. We have it was SEC Media Days are on right now. Don't think any of us really care that much about it, except our friend Brian Kelly of the LSU Tigers was asked a particularly funny question yesterday. So
my God.
We'll get to that coming up.
A little throwback for you.
Yeah, we'll come back and bring you that on San Diego's #1 sports station. Check traffic right now on 97.3 The Fan. give you that. A tweet in here from Tier 1. I don't know how to say his name on Twitter. Trade deadline. Package Xander with a prospect in cash and trade him. Then you can extend Kim. It's clear there's a power struggle between X and Manny. There's a mound visit last year. Manny did most of the talking. This year it's X. Too many Chiefs. Well, both have no trade clauses. I don't think Xander has any compelling reason to drop his no trade clause after 4 months. So
maybe he hates it so much.
I don't think anybody hates it in San Diego. Now, I'm sure they don't like the way this season's gone, but I also know how these guys think, and they'll all say, "Oh, we'll be fine again next year. This was a one-off. This is an aberration. Let's get after it next year and let's win the World Series." No one's dropping their no trade clause. You're not trading Xander. You're not trading Manny. Not trading Tatis. They are all here for the next decade plus, and get used to that idea. It doesn't do us any good to throw out trade possibilities, including any of those 3 players. We'll find out if something changes.
No, if somebody demands
the culture changes, and they say, "Hey,
get me out of
not
here.
happy with the way things are going here. I'd be willing to drop my no trade clause for the right situation."
I would feel like Xander.
But none of that has happened here.
I would
in
feel
San
like
Diego.
Xander it wouldn't be giving it a fair shot after.
No, and I think he would say the same thing, even if he was unhappy. He goes, "Yeah, but I wanted to be here. I got to give it at least 3 or 4 years, out of my 11 before I even think about wanting to go somewhere else." And I haven't heard word one from Xander say he's unhappy about anything other than his own performance and losing and the way his hand felt and since the cortisone shot, he looked really good in the series against Phillies. It wasn't his fault. Padres lost 3 out of 4 in that series. He seems like he's been getting it together. So while it's always fun to talk trade possibilities, it does show you that AJ Prellers doesn't have every avenue available to him. He has tied his own hands when it comes to the moves that he can and can't make at this and probably the next several trading deadlines to come.
I mean, it's like a marriage with a long-term contract. Or honestly, it really is. It's like and sometimes people make a mistake in a marriage, and you can those are easier to get out of seemingly than one where another team would want to take on a big giant contract like a Xander Bogaerts or a Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis, which is escalating every single year. So it also it is trade season. So try to remember, you can't trade a bunch of slum gum for premier players.
Making today's incorporator way too easy.
I am. You can't do that. Just no one's going to take Nola, Carpenter, Reese Kinnear.
The definition of slum gum.
Right. For, their premier first baseman or their premier catcher. It's not going to happen. The Royals aren't going to say, you know what, you guys take Salvi and we'll take Tim Hill back and we'll take, can you throw in Matt Carpenter as well? We'll love a veteran presence. And Austin Nola. Try to, as we navigate these next couple of weeks together, try to remember you need to give something to get something most of the time.
All right. It was one of our favorite moments. I think it was late 2021 when Brian Kelly made the surprising leap from Notre Dame to LSU and was
he was introduced at an LSU basketball game.
That's right, in front of all the crowd down there on the floor. And all of a sudden, the guy who was the coach at Notre Dame in Indiana, who's originally from Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah, Boston.
Sounded like this.
Thank you. Well, this is a great way to get started. And I haven't even won all my games yet. It's a great night to be a Tiger. I'm here with my family, and we are so excited to be in the great state of Louisiana, but more importantly, to be with you great fans, and to be part of what is going to be an incredible ride here at Louisiana State University.
The only thing he didn't say is, I do declare.
I do declare.
Well, what is this contraption I do declare?
It's my BlackBerry, Michael. I'm trying to get updates on the company.
Who's Michael? I'm Caleb Crawdad. I do declare.
You don't have to keep saying I do declare. Anytime you say something, it means you're declaring.
That is the way Southern people talk.
Right.
And what design woman are you basing that on?
Delta Buck. I do declare.
And Brian Kelly. So yesterday, the SEC media days.
It's a great night to be a Tiger.
A Tiger.
Someone actually, one of the members of the media
Had
asked
to
Brian
do it.
Kelly, so,
That's amazing.
how's your accent?
You have it?
Are you committing right now that he is your starter for game one? And also, have you worked on your recruiting accent for the 2024 cycle?
I think my accent's pretty good.
Yeah, we talk normally like that.
And it's gotten better, throughout the recruiting process. It depends on where if I'm in northern Louisiana or southern Louisiana. Sometimes I get over Lake Charles. It's got to change a little bit.
Sometimes when I go to New Orleans.
He was so self-conscious in that moment,
Dude,
right there. Everyone's listening.
What
to
a
exactly.
question.
And we are so excited to be in the great state of Louisiana, but more importantly,
Oh, my Lord.
to be with you great fans.
It was one of my favorite moments we've ever had. I
I'm
laughed
here with
so
my
hard.
family.
He got roasted so bad. I have a friend who moved. He moved to England, to London, and I had not talked to him in forever. He's a musician. Sent me some stuff that he was working on, and I listened to it. And he goes, "Dude, give me a call. We haven't talked forever." It was like midnight there, and he was hammered. He'd been out at a concert, so I called him. And he's like, and he full on went like Keith Richards on me. Like he's from Chicago. And when he's like, "It's so great to talk to you." I'm like, "What is, is this you?" He's moved over here for a bit. I just had a little bit of a cocktail tonight. I'm like, what is happening? Why are you doing this? Please don't do this.
So is that myth or fact? Like, do you inherit an accent?
I think you do.
Can you inherit an accent?
I think you absolutely can.
But it works the other way too. There's people who moved, when they were children at 7, and they're 80 years old, and they still talk with as strong of an accent as they did their entire life.
If they moved
Never
here
goes away.
from Scotland or something,
I have lived on the West Coast my entire life. I have an accent to certain people.
Of course.
Of course. If I moved to Australia for how long would it take? How long? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
It was the weirdest thing. It's so good to speak with you. It's been ages. Has it? It has been. It's been a while. How you doing? I'm doing great. Me and Jenny over here. Just had a cocktail. We saw Kings of Leon tonight. I'm like, this is unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
What is this contraption I do declare?
I had to pull hey, bro, I'm walking into the store. All right, cheerio. I'll talk to you soon. I'm like, this is unbelievable. So it happened. It happened. But that was like, he'd been there like a day. He'd been there a couple days.
It was his introduction to the fans.
I just can't wait to get started. It's just incredible.
If you missed it earlier this morning, we introduced you to Chip Layton and reasons he's had to apologize to his wife
or kids.
We gave you a taste we've got some more things he's apologized to his teenagers for. We've got some
more things he's apologized to his teenagers for.
This is what we do
coming up next. Making them walk the dogs might be on the list, possibly.
You got to put your kids to work today. Today is the day.
And then I'll have to apologize to them later, apparently. We'll get to that in our final segment of Ben and Woods coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, I swung and missed again. I think it was last week. Was in here hyping up just a little preview I saw on Netflix. At Ben and Woods.
Can't fall for the trailers always.
97.3 The Fan. You're right. The trailers will get me sometimes.
It's kind of their job.
It's
the job of trailer. It's like the very best tease.
How many things have we teased and then we came back and we tried to pay it off? You're driving in your car. You went, oh, I waited for that. Right. It happens. So I see the Netflix trailer for a new show called Quarterback. And I haven't seen it yet. I've just seen the trailer. And I'm selling it and saying, man, I am so fascinated by that position, which I am. That has not changed. I do remain fascinated with the quarterback position. And well, then I turned it on and I watched about 7 minutes of the first episode. Now, for me, sometimes I did not like True Detective when it very first came out. Season 1 of True Detective, widely regarded as one of the best seasons.
Even the one with Matthew McConaughey.
That was the first one. Yeah. McConaughey, Harrelson. I didn't like it. I watched it every week because everybody else was watching it. And I went, and I think I even tweeted at the time, oh, cool, it's Sunday. I get to pretend to be excited about True Detective. Clearly, I wasn't in the right headspace because I went back and watched it. And I've watched it 40 times since. It's maybe one of the best things that's ever been on television. It's incredible. When it came out, I wasn't in the right headspace. So maybe that's what's going on with Netflix's new special Quarterback. So I put it on, and I'm not kidding you. I made it 7 minutes, and I went, I'm done. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. Patrick Mahomes is an interesting cat. Kirk Cousins is not. Marcus Mariota is not.
If you got to pick a quarterback to follow, Mahomes is probably the guy.
But this is just my opinion. He's amazing.
Young superstar.
Of course.
Super Bowl.
Of course.
Every year.
I'm watching like 7 minutes of it, and him on the sidelines, like, damn it! Like the voice gives me.
I will give the producers credit. I'm pretty sure they had Jackson Mahomes somewhere in a straight jacket.
Yeah,
I did not see a lot of him.
Here's the problem. Even the clips that I saw, because I haven't watched it, but I saw a couple of clips online. Like, oh, look at this moment. I'm going, if that's the best that you've got, I don't know about this.
You're much more discerning than I am, because I watched the thing and I said, "Ooh, okay, I could get in on this." And then the Kirk Cousins deal and Mariota and Jackson Patrick Mahomes and his whole scene.
They didn't get the right. I mean, I think if Mahomes was like the least interesting guy, then you're fine. I couldn't care less about Marcus Mariota.
I really couldn't.
I really couldn't care less about Kirk Cousins. Like, they just didn't get the right guys. I think.
Let's just put it like this way. You can hate
Justin Herbert would have been more interesting.
You can hate golf all you want. Full Swing's phenomenal. You don't have to like golf at all to watch Full Swing. Now, there's a couple of them in there where you're like, all right, I can skip this one, Matthew Fitzpatrick. But Brooks Koepka, some of the best TV I've ever seen, ever. I've like that episode with Brooks. You can't look away. You're watching a man crumble, the most confident man in the world, just wilt and crumble, and watching him questioning everything he knows. It's the human condition. And you're watching it going, oh, wow. If he's lacking confidence, how should I be?
So I feel like I know our tier 1 audience pretty well at this point, what they like, what they don't. Paulie will post after the show all the hours of what we did today. The 4th hour today, Paulie's going to, the guys talk about franchise tags, the SEC media days, and the quarterback documentary. No one's going to click on that. I think this has actually been a pretty good hour, actually, if you've been listening to Ben and Woods. And it's one of the tricky things. You mentioned teasing in radio in particular. Let's talk about teasing just for a quick second.
Woods, a tease is
one of the hardest things to do.
Very hard.
I mean, I think people understand what it is. We're trying to get you to listen longer, come back after the break and stick with us because we don't want you to miss the show. We want you to listen as much as possible. It's very hard to do a really good tease because, as you just said, Woods, you don't want to oversell something and then disappoint on the back end.
Guilty as charged.
But then again, you can't underplay everything.
You also can't come back and say, hey, we're going to come back and reset the show. Which I've done.
And not say anything. So you have to walk that fine line between, promising, tantalizing, but you still have to deliver at the end. I want our show, and I think we do this pretty well, and, tier 1s will ultimately be the judge. I want this show to be something that you always feel like no matter when you tune in, whatever they're talking about, even if it's not your favorite topic. You had no thought that you'd hear us talking about franchise tags and SEC media days and the quarterback documentary, that at the same time, you're still going, I'm enjoying this conversation.
Sure.
I like this show. It may not have been why I clicked in for it, but I'm hoping you're having a good time listening.
Yeah, no doubt. As I yawned on the air.
Right.
Where my head's at.
Here's an audio tease as we go to traffic. Earlier in the show, in our 6 o'clock hour, we played some clips from The Leighton Show on TikTok. It's a guy who posts a lot of videos of things he has had to apologize for.
He's brilliant.
We played a bunch of things he's had to apologize to his wife for, things like this. I scoured his TikTok page and I've got several more clips of things he has apologized to his teenagers for.
See, now that's a good tease, because if you heard it earlier, you're going to want to hear more. And if you didn't, you just got a taste of what you missed. And now you're very intrigued.
That's how it's done.
And we will get to it right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Hey guys, just a few things wrapping up our morning drive. Collision on northbound 805 at Imperial Avenue off-ramp. It's over the right shoulder. A couple vehicles involved. Looks like Caltrans having to run a break to clear some insulation out of lanes on the North 5 coastline just before Cannon. Also going to find on westbound 78 right before the 5 accident and clearing stage. Everything's over the right shoulder. Tow trucks on scene, so just take it extra carefully there. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
There's more things I've apologized to my teenagers for. I thought my daughter was blasting the F-bomb on the radio, but turns out Khalid is just saying, I want to get numb and forget where I'm from. So we're all good. Next, while I was preparing dinner, my daughter informed me that I was breathing so loud right now. Sorry for concentrating on cutting the corn off the cob and not my fingers. And finally, I sneezed while driving. I can literally feel the car swerving right now. You're in no condition to drive. Look, did we get home or not?
I can literally feel the car swerving right now. It's amazing. He's amazing.
It's his delivery that just kills
deadpan.
me.
It's
Now,
so good.
do we have any idea what this guy, Chip Layton is his name? Like, what's his actual profession?
I have no
Do we
idea.
have any idea? Is he
Professional
doing-
genius?
Is he
I have
doing
no
this on his
idea.
own? I mean, he could be like a stand-up comedian genius.
He does do stand-up, actually.
I would hope
I
he
think
does.
he does
With
stand
that
up.
delivery and that cadence.
I think he lives in Maine, by the way.
Yes.
That's a Maine accent we're listening to.
It's
All right,
fantastic.
this is more stuff I apologize to my teenagers for. I bought bananas that had 2 small black spots on them, rendering them inedible. This comes on the heels of yesterday's incident when I served a plate that had a terrible chicken to rice ratio. This reminds me of the comment that one mother shared that her son asked her not to call him to dinner until the food had been plated. Next, when I mentioned that my nap squared me, I was told, don't brag. You were literally curled up on your bed like a little baby at 2 p.m.
Bragging about his
Fair
name.
enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
And finally, I fast forwarded 1 second too far coming out of a commercial break. I was stripped of my remote privileges immediately.
Bo gets so mad at me. I've done that before. I love him so much, man. I want to be friends with him. I want him to maybe come work in San Diego on our radio program. Holy smokes.
Oh,
he's
the
good.
fast forward, that one kills me. Like,
All right,
it's
some more
one-
things we've apologized to our teenagers for. We were late because we only woke them up once. My daughter's got a lot of strengths, but follow through on the waking up process is not one of them. How come you didn't wake me up a second time? We're basically human snooze alarms at this point. Number 2, despite my repeated warnings, they did in fact find the chicken tortilla soup too hot. That's on me for not warning them that the raft of tortilla chips and cheese that they put in their bowls would only serve to trap the heat in. And finally, I was informed that the way I put chapstick on is like every man does it. I don't really know what this means other than it has something to do with sticking your lips out and looking stupid.
He's amazing, man. He's amazing. I don't know if I should tell the one that our boss Adam told me.
Oh.
That he went. I don't know if his wife listens to our program. I don't know if she listens or not, but he said that his little guy's got a City Connect hat and he got a little paint on it at school, which has happened to us many times. Hence why my wife bought 700 of them.
Bought out the entire store.
Entire store.
She's now the dealer.
Yeah.
For San Diego
You need
County.
City Connect. She doesn't mark them up.
No.
She's got them.
Oh, yeah.
Order. So got a little paint on his hat. So I said, I got to wash this hat before school tomorrow. So would you remind me and just hang this on the door? And then I'll remember to wash it. And he said, yeah, no problem. So he takes the hat, hangs it on the door. Walked out this morning and said, well, I didn't wash the hat because nobody reminded me to wash the hat. Oh, you mean by following your exact reminder of how to wash the hat? I didn't do it. It is so good. It is so very good.
And then I'm sure his kid, when he put on the wash hat, goes, it's kind of a little wet.
There was
here.
no
Why
wash.
is it-"
Then nobody washed it. She never washed it.
But,
No,
yeah.
she never washed it. Nobody reminded her, even though he did, in fact, remind her.
Just like he was supposed to.
Just like he was supposed to. That's exactly right.
All right, Padres, are we done? Do we have any others? Or
You
is
want
that
one
it?
more?
Yeah,
give me one
Let's
more.
do one
All
more.
right, so one
Never gets
more
old.
All right.
from the Leighton Show on TikTok.
Okay, these are more things I've apologized to my teenagers for. I asked my daughter who one of her friends was. What do you want? Her life story? If by life story you mean any single piece of identifying information, yeah, I guess that is what I want. Next, when we were standing in line for soft serve, a bug landed on my neck, and when I was trying to get it off, I kind of freaked out. It didn't help that it turned out to be a ladybug. And finally, I used the television to watch my stupid fishing show. I realize now that buying the TV doesn't give me the right to interrupt 9 hours of Stranger Things.
I love it. That's sometimes the only way you can deal with some of the stuff at home is to have a sense of humor about it, because it will drive you bananas. And I know many of you can relate. Holy cow.
All right, Padres have a 4:07 start today, first of three against the Toronto Blue Jays from the Rogers Center, the only stadium in MLB with a hotel room in the outfield.
Yeah.
It'll be Alek Manoah for the Blue Jays, Joe Musgrove pitching for the Padres. Here's what I would like to see today.
A 14-0 win.
Well, that would be nice, because it would also, unless Joe Musgrove pitches a complete game. Well, I'd love to see a complete game from Joe Musgrove.
Oh my God, more than anything.
But if it's not a complete game from Joe Musgrove, I would love to see the Padres end their streak of 17 straight games in which the bullpen has allowed runs.
Holy
and
crap.
14 of those 17, they've allowed multiple runs.
Can't happen.
That's well, including the All-Star break. That is over 3 weeks now since the bullpen has come in. And it shouldn't be that hard. Hey, starter goes 6, 7. We need 2 or 3 shutout innings.
Can you give us 6
to end
outs?
that streak. Can you get 6 outs? And I would think Joe probably good for 6 today. Well rested coming out of the break. I mean, you never know. Blake, says it's actually harder to come out of the All-Star break. But let's say you get 7 out of Joe. Can you give me 2 shutout innings?
Give me Josh Hader for both if you have to. These games are absolutely must win.
This has got to end. 14 of 17 games with multiple runs allowed from the bullpen.
Got to stop or we're going nowhere.
No wonder you can't win a close game. If the bullpen has always given up at least 2, or they're doing it in 83% of the games that they've come in over the last 3 weeks, you are in a massive amount of trouble. You need 8-1 leads that you can then coast into your 8-4 victory or whatever it is.
Yeah, and
at
burn
the
your
end. And
closer.
you're not going to have 8-1 leads in every game in the 9th inning. So you have to get a bullpen performance that they come in and actually get some outs. You don't have to strike everybody out. You just have to get through the inning. Hey, if you have to dance around a bases loaded situation, fine. Don't allow any runs today.
Yep.
Try that.
That's
Something for a change.
It's a really good key to success tonight, Ben. My thing to look for is Alek Manoah. Obviously, a scuffle this year. He has not won a game at home. I think his ERA is 8-something at home in the Rogers Center. So doesn't feel super comfortable on his own mound. Keep it that way. Go after him. Don't stand up there and stare and wait for your pitch and wait for your pitch. Get up there and knock him around and make him uncomfortable in the first inning. Get to him. And when you do score a couple runs, please add on. Please try to add on. There's no lead is safe. Honestly, right now with the way this is going, as you just mentioned, no lead is safe for this team right now. So offense, now's your time to carry us home. And, you got to win at least 2 of these games. You just have to.
Remember, Jesse incorporating on television today
on TV.
with Mud Grant. And I don't know, we may still text Bob Scanlon, give him slum gum, see if he can do it on radio as well with Tony Gwynn Jr. But those will be your broadcast teams. Sammy Levitt will have your pregame show at 3:07 this afternoon. That's Pacific time with the 4:07 Pacific time start. The first of 3 in Toronto.
Beautiful.
Against the Blue Jays.
It's, hey, I've said this before. Season starts now. Tonight.
After the must-win game that Manny Machado called Sunday.
Correct.
They didn't win.
They did not win.
Now
it's really
a must-win game. You really are in mustiest of must-win territory. All right, that's it for us. Coach John Quintero standing by. He will be next for our executive producer, Paul Reindl, and Stephen Woods. I'm Ben Higgins. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Adam Jones in studio on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.